matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Leafs Game Night live from Scotiabank Arena. Jim Taddy and Dave Festuck from the Toronto Star reporting. And this is one of my favorite parts of the night is the warm-up winding down where one by one the players sift off the ice, and usually there's the guy who has to be last is left there, and the ritual is intact.
Oh, yeah. It's a great, hey, this is the next gen game. A lot of kids in the stands with their signs begging for pucks in various creative ways and begging for sticks in various creative ways. We'll see. Usually it's Marner usually giving them the pucks, right? Marner's got that pregame ritual. He always finds a puck for at least one kid and lobs it over the boards before he heads off.
Oh, Benoit did that, and I was watching that on the scoreboard, and there was an older gentleman behind the kids catching the pucks for the kids and distributing them.
Let's hope it's for the kids, Jim. Let's hope it's for the kids.
It was. He was legit. So let's get into the Leafs generating some offense against this stingy Winnipeg team. Here's Coach Keefe on getting some goals here against the Jets.
Yeah, just getting to their net, getting access to the net, getting access to the zone. They also do a lot of really good things on offense too. So they're good with the puck and they put pressure on you in your own zone. So just two teams that are going to be fighting for possession and territory through the game, and then looking to gain access to the net. And then special teams, of course, would be a big factor too.
Any update on Bert?
He's not available tonight.
Someone like Mark Giordano, when he's kind of going through another scratch like this, do you have a conversation with him about the situation, or is he just a veteran that he can kind of handle?
Well, we've talked to when we've sat him out, and there's, as I said yesterday, part of it is Geo, part of it is the rest factor when you're talking about the back-to-backs and the heavy schedule that we've had. This has just been a really busy month for us here. Not just the volume of games, but 2 trips out west and all these types of things. But similar to a situation with our forward group where we've got some of our young guys that you want to get in and you want to get them looks, and that affects the group. And then Reeves would be caught up in that. With Timmins, we want to get him going, but we also like the right shot thing is something that we think we've been fighting that for a bit here with the left-handed guys that have been playing on their offside and have wanted to give it a little more runway with the righty-lefty. So give it another game here today. Timmins, has been a while since he's played, consistently. So we just wanted to give that a look. So in this case, it's more about Timmins than it is about Gio.
Despite the fact that the Jets are in the Western Conference, your matchups against them seem really intense. Why do you think that is?
I think it's just, it's Canadian teams. I think we saw that, whether it was our games in Alberta or against Vancouver. I think it's just the Canadian, factor. And then a lot of it perhaps is a little enhanced because of the time in the Canadian or North Division. That's all that I can attribute it to.
Updated timeline on Joseph Woll's return?
No, not necessarily, other than to say he's progressing very well. He's going to remain here and work through our bye week and All-Star break. So he'll remain on the ice. I think the plan or the hope is that once we return, he'll be closer to or ready to join our practices. I would say, though, that him coming back to play after the All-Star break would not be imminent. It would be more so progressing with practices and then testing it and progressing from there. So still quite a ways away from games.
Coach Keefe getting set for the Winnipeg Jets. Perfetti was the last Jet on the ice, and it'll be Matthews and likely Marner. Matthews will go out before Marner. Marner's now looking for a place to throw the souvenir puck.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's a nice little thing. Oh, actually, it has to be Matthews. Look, that's the speedy getaway from Marner as he jumps down the hallway. Forgot about that. Anyway, so a couple of nuggets in there. Gio won't play tonight, and Bertuzzi not available. So, and everybody understands it's a family situation. The birth of a child is pending there, and so that's why he's not playing. Bertuzzi.
For sure, and that's understandable. The one about Giordano was interesting to me, though, because clearly, speaking of Mark Giordano, the media talked to him about his situation, and there was some talk about, hey, are you worn out? Are you tired? And he's like, no, I sat out most of a month with a broken thumb this season. He's in good shape. He's the oldest skater in the league, and they have been asking a lot of him. But this, and Keith pointed out, hey, this is more about trying to get Connor Timmins into the rotation than it is about resting, load managing Mark Giordano as the oldest skater in the league. They only got the two right-handed shot D in Liljegren and Timmins. Everybody else in this roster is left-handed that plays defense. So it makes sense to have, at least two of your three pairs, and you'll have McCabe and Liljegren and Benoit and Timmins tonight. To have the left-right balance intact in at least two of those three. Of course, Riley Brody at the top pair, both left shots. So that makes some sense to me. That they need to see what Timmins can give them, I think, at some point. And he's got to start playing more regularly if that's going to happen.
Either he's a right-handed shot or they have to get one, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to go back and go over, analyze games and figuring out where that was a problem, because clearly it was.
Well, it's a subtle thing, right?
Yeah.
I've talked to it. Well, covering this team over the past handful of years, it's come up a lot, right? We've talked about this with Morgan Riley and going back to the Jake Gardner days, and there's been a lot of talk about this particular phenomenon for D-men, and every guy's different, and some guys play the offside better than others. Some guys are just useless on the offside. They just really don't want to do it. They beg not to do it, and I just think it's a guy-to-guy thing, and clearly they haven't liked what they've been seeing when it's been 5 of 6 lefties or occasionally 6 of 6.
So we'll get into the full lineup later on at the top of the hour, but on the left side it'll stack up like this: Nice, Holmberg, Robertson, and McMahon. So obviously Bertuzzi's out, and Holmberg has turned into a serviceable winger, hasn't he?
He has, and that's important. I mean, when you look at the way this season's gone. I mean, maybe it'll inject something into John Tavares' game, because he's been searching for answers. With Bertuzzi, certainly hasn't been clicking with Tavares. Tavares is on the longest pointless streak of his career now. 8 games without a point. Never happened to this guy. I mean, he's been going back to his days as an exceptional player, exceptional status guy in the OHL, all through being a number 1 draft pick and being a star player in this league. He's never had a stretch quite like this. John Tavares hasn't. So maybe with Holmberg out there, Willie Nylander on the other wing, and Bertuzzi sitting this one out, awaiting the birth of a child, maybe that'll be the thing that gets Tavares back on track. I mean, who's to say? But he needs something. He needs a little bit of magic tonight to get that thing off his back and get rolling in the right direction here.
It is kind of a weird situation for the Leafs, in that I think that at this point of the season, going into the All-Star break, you would have a better feel for the team, but it's still a lot of question marks.
Tons of question marks. There really is. I mean, look, that second line right now has become a question mark that they didn't want to have. And why isn't John Tavares producing at his regular rate? Obviously, you pointed out the D question. Will you need to add D at the deadline, especially in terms of a right shot? Well, we'll see tonight a little bit more about what Connor Timmins can bring, and whether that's going to be the type of thing the Leafs are going to need or going to want in their lineup come playoff time. And then, of course, the question marks around goaltending continue. And we talked about Ilya Samsonov off the top, and that one's not going away anytime soon, because he's going to take a long stretch here for Ilya Samsonov to convince everybody that he's back to being the Sammy he was last season.
Well, and that's the funny thing. Like, if I said question mark in goaltending, question mark on the blue line, question mark up front, it wouldn't be the same question mark as it was 3 months ago.
No, it's true.
It's rotated around, but it hasn't left the area.
No, it hasn't. And maybe that's just look, almost every team in this league, because of the fact that most teams are capped out, the Jets actually are one of the few teams with cap space, which is a really rare phenomenon for a contender in this league. But because teams are capped out, because they've spent so many resources on building what they've got, it's very tough to fill holes. It's not just a Leaf problem; it's a hockey problem. It's an NHL problem. And so they're not the only team that's got holes that are very difficult to fill. But certainly when you're in year 8 of the Matthews-Marner era and coming up on the 10th anniversary of the Shannon plan, it's pressing. These problems are pressing, and they've got to prove that they can do it in the playoffs, and they got to prove it pronto. And so, it takes on a little more urgency than it otherwise would in other markets.
Well, and time will give us the answer to this, but as we have the rotating question marks in the various spots this year, actually over the course of the rebuild, some of those question marks, goaltending was never really, there's been some moments there, but it never really solidified regardless of who the goaltender was. The blue line was always something that had to be tinkered with. The Fab Four up front were good, but it was always the secondary scoring, and it still is.
It still is, for sure. And look, that's a problem. Nick Robertson, speaking of secondary scoring, now there's an opportunity, right?
Yep.
He scores in Seattle. We've seen him, healthy, scratching an awful lot, and there's a lot of positive talk around Nick Robertson. Sheldon Keefe talking about how this guy has stayed ready, this guy has done what we've asked him to do. Now, whether or not he's addressed the problem on the defensive side of the puck, that's going to take some time to figure out. But we do know this: the guy can score.
Yes, he can.
He's got a great shot, and he finds ice to make his little bit of magic with that wrist shot. So. Whether or not he can stay on the ice, stay in the lineup, is going to be the question. But there is no question that if you're looking for scoring, he can provide it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And as far as the goaltending goes, it seems to me that a lot of teams, if they had the room, would carry 3.
Man, I think you'd love to carry 3.
Yeah.
And there are teams doing it.
Yeah.
Because it is such a tough commodity to find in this league right now. But you're right; it's just such a difficult thing. There's no way the Leafs could do it, given their cap situation. And it's a goalie lottery in this league by so many measures. Like now, Connor Hellebuck and the Winnipeg Jets that's an exception to the rule, where they're going to give him a long-term deal at $8.5 million that'll kick in next year, and they're not going to feel 1 ounce of regret about that anytime soon, because he's been nothing but elite. Since he stepped into this league, nobody has played more time in the net than Connor Hellebuck, circa 2015. He has been a very rare thing in this league, which is just a consistently dependable goalie who occasionally, in seasons like this, can turn into not just dependable, but elite, the best of the best. But how many teams have that? Tampa's got Vasilevsky.
There's only a handful of them now.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen. And it's one of the great mysteries of sports, Jim. These teams have all kinds of money. They spend all kinds of money on scouting and development, and yet they still are flummoxed by how do you create goaltenders who can bring it to you year after year after year.
Well, in fact, a lot of the front offices are spending money on their goaltending department, right?
Yeah.
So they can develop them properly.
I think that's kind of the thing with people who are saying, well, why aren't we getting this right? Do we need to put more resources in there? Do we need a department? Do we need more goaltending coaches instead of just one goaltending coach? And now you're seeing that, right? The Leafs have certainly got that type of a thing going on. There's more than one franchise that has. But ultimately, I think the truth about it is there's just very few guys that can figure it out year after year. Connor Hellebuck's one. We won't be seeing him tonight, and that's good for the Maple Leafs.
Winnipeg Jets are here. They are 14-5-2 on the road. Not bad. This is Leafs Game Night live from Scotiabank Arena on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
Sarah used to let things get to her. Like the news. Or the fake news. The new girl at work. Her old boyfriend's new girlfriend. All that changed when she traveled south with Air Transat.
It's the Comeback Change promo. Book now and get up to 20% off on flights down south. Visit airtransat.com. Conditions apply.
Air Transat. Travel moves us.
How to fix broken furnace. What's a heat exchanger?
You might not know how to fix a furnace, but we do. We're Reliance Home Comfort, and we'll take your call 24/7. And if you need a new one, ask us about our next day or we pay installation guarantee. And right now, pay no interest for 12 months on a featured furnace. So if you need help fast, call on Reliance. Financing OAC for a 12-month term with no interest accruing. Conditions apply. See website for details.
TSN and TSN Plus are the home of the National Lacrosse League.
Shoot, scores, what a goal!
With every game, all season long.
Look at those moves. Oh my goodness!
NLL lives on TSN and TSN Plus.
Owning a 2024 Honda CR-V Touring Hybrid is more than just about amazing performance and capability. It's a feeling, a hybrid of feelings, if you will, like the freedom of adventure that comes with all-wheel drive, or the comforting confidence of Honda sensing safety technology. And with a range of up to 800 kilometers on a single tank, you'll also find that driving it just feels good. Right now, get that Honda feeling and a $1,000 Honda bonus when you lease the CR-V Touring Hybrid for just 4.99% for 30 months OAC, based on combined fuel ratings. In stock now. See HondaOntario.com.
Don't brave the winter weather. Stay in and get your favorite groceries from Sobeys, Longo's, Farm Boy, and more. Delivered right to your door. It's not magic. It just feels that way. Voila. Your groceries delivered. Just like that.
Well, the road trip is over, and now it's home and home with the Jets. Winnipeg is doing rather well, but minus a couple of important parts tonight. And the Leafs, well, Samsonov was a big factor in the win in Seattle on Sunday and gets another look tonight. Will Sammy continue his fine play? Well, let's find out. Molson Canadian Leafs hockey starts now.
It's time for Molson Canadian Leafs hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
Welcome to Molson Canadian Leafs hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. Jim Taddy, Dave Feschek from the Toronto Star, and Bonesy and Ralphie standing by getting their accounts and descriptions in order. The starting lineup is brought to you by Molson. Whether it's Canadian, Ultra, Export, or Excel, there's a Molson with your name on it. And so the lineup for the Leafs will go like this. Matthews between Marner and Nyes. Tavares between Nylander and Holmberg. Domi between Yarncroke and Robertson. Camp centering Gregor and McMahon on the blue line. The pairings are Riley, Brody, McCabe, Liljegren, Benoit, and Timmins. So no Gio and no Bertuzzi tonight. And Samsonov starts in goal. Dave, what do you make of all that?
Well, what I make of it is this is going to be a good moment for the Maple Leafs because you get the advantage of no Connor Hellebuck. You get the advantage of the Jets coming in a little bit wounded with Scheifele and Velarde out. And you need to get back on track here. You know, you get the win in Seattle to saw off the road trip at 2-2, but you haven't been playing your best hockey. I'm looking at the power play tonight. They are 1 for their last 15, the Toronto power play. That's just not acceptable, right? They've got scored 1 goal in their past 7 games on the power play. They were 0 for 5 against Vancouver in Vancouver, 0 for 2 against Seattle in their most recent game. This is a team that struggles. The Jets struggle on special teams, both with a really mundane bottom 10 power play and a bottom 10 penalty kill. If you want to get your special teams cooking, this is a good opportunity to do it.
I mean, this is really fine-tuning. We're heading into the All-Star break. Trade deadline is, 6 weeks away, 7 weeks away.
Yep.
I mean, this is the time to iron out all that stuff. We heard in the previous half hour, Coach Q talking about the right-handed shot, which is why Timmins is in tonight and Gio is not playing, because they want to fine-tune that. They want to figure out how that works to their benefit. And if it's not Timmins, it's got to be somebody else. But there's a lot of that in the next couple of weeks that they'll be doing, right?
Right. You got. Hey, I mean, this is the time to experiment. I mean, you got to pick up points too, because they're not exactly in a comfortable position in terms of the playoffs right now. You know, a losing streak and you could be out of the playoff picture, as could many teams in this sort of in that bubble territory, verging on the wild card or top 3 in the Atlantic right now. So, but you're right. This is the time to do it, and they got to get this power play back to relevance. They got to get the penalty kill going too. The penalty kill, Jim, is another weakness of this team this season that's kind of come out of nowhere, and it's what they've allowed 6 goals against on the opposing power play in the past 18 opportunities. That's not going to do it. That's not going to cut it. So special teams have got to get going. It is the dog days of January. These games are not exactly must-wins, but I think, to your point, these issues must be fine-tuned.
Yeah, and let's put the goaltending in there as well. So if Samsonov is delivered tonight after delivering Sunday in Seattle, to have that as sort of a building block, and you know what Martin Jones can do, and that puts a little pressure or takes a little pressure off the wall return. I mean, this is an important piece, isn't it?
Oh, it's hugely important for a lot of different reasons. And the main reason is this. There's no obvious solution beyond Ilya Samsonov. We've heard all the accounts and reports of the goalie market this season, guess what? There's not a lot of goalies out there, and the prices are very high for them. So if you had to go out, if you're Brad Treliving, the GM of this club, and you have to go out and acquire another goaltender for the playoffs, that is not a good position to be in. You're going to have to overpay for it, and it's not going to be a sure thing. It's not as though you're going to get a proven playoff performer. You're going to get somebody who's also a lottery ticket, and you're hoping you cash it. So the best course of, sort of the events that could happen here would be for Samsonov to just get back to something approaching what he was last season, which was very, very good. And I think, look, Seattle was one game, but it was a good one.
Yeah.
And
all
you can do is put one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, he was a big factor in the win.
He was.
So, and that, that contradicts some of the other stuff that was said earlier when you might have had a win. You go, well, okay, he had the win, but he was a factor in that win.
He was.
You're talking about the special team. So for the Leafs, their total is 101. 24.6 and 76.4. The 24.6 is the power play. 101 is good. It's not fabulous, but it's good. The Jets are at 93.8, which is atrocious.
That's not good.
16.3 on the power play, which is dreadful. And the penalty kill is slightly better than the Leafs at 77.5, but 93 as a total is not good.
It really isn't. It really isn't. And that's kind of, the Jets have talked about that. Like, how can you be the best defensive team in the league and have that bad a penalty kill? It doesn't make a lot of sense, right? So,
or a minuscule power play.
Yeah, and a really minuscule power play for a team, again, that is actually a very good offensive team. Yep. They're top 10 at 5-on-5 in terms of producing offense. So, along with being the best, by far the best defensive team in the league at 5-on-5. So, yeah, that's a head scratcher. That's something, that's the cross for Rick Bowness to bear as the coach of that team. He's got to figure that one out. But you're right. Like, the Leafs, in the grand scheme of things, the Leafs special teams are not that bad. But they, the power play has been cold of late. It's 8th in the league this year as opposed to 2nd last year. So it's fallen off a little bit. And I'm sure Sheldon Keefe doesn't appreciate that. Like, why would you fall off when you've got that much skill, when you've invested all that money and all that skill? You should be in elite power play. You should be in the top handful of teams in this league, and you should not be 1 for 15 in your past 8 games.
Yeah, well, and that's the key. Like, give me the last 10 games. Like, the season stats are great, but what's happening lately? So I want to return to something we talked about earlier. When you roll into Edmonton and lose, you win in Calgary, okay. You lose in Vancouver. I mean, those are narratives that you skate into. The Vancouver story is a resuscitation after basically a year in the sewer, and you come out and battling for the best in the league. Edmonton fires a coach and just goes on a complete roll. You win in Seattle and you win in Calgary. So no real major narratives there. This is another narrative they're stepping into tonight. Winnipeg is like Vancouver. They're challenging for the top. I mean, this is a good hockey team.
It's a remarkable story. It really is. And everything they do well is kind of stuff the Leafs wish they did well.
Yeah, well, that's all the narratives. They're not really connected, but if you see what the others did, it really did work out for them.
You're right. No, you're right. And hey, look, it's easy to say you want to do stuff the Winnipeg Jets do, but hey, the Winnipeg Jets also lost in the first round last year.
Yeah.
Albeit to the eventual champion Golden Knights of Vegas. So, nobody's perfect in this league. The Jets are looking like the closest thing to a perfect defensive team, but we'll see tonight. Hey, they're without Connor Hellebuck, and a great opportunity for the Maple Leafs to make a statement against them.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, so you have a 2-game set here against Winnipeg, Saturday in Winnipeg, going into the All-Star break. If you could, I don't know if I'd predict 2 wins, but if you could, at least even if you split, if you look good in the one you lose, that's a good thing.
I think that's the key here. You want to look good against this team, because this team is the kind of the epitome of conscientious hockey, which is what Sheldon Keefe's been trying to get his team to play.
Absolutely. The opening face-off is next. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
4 teams remain on the road to Super Bowl 58.
Kansas City, for the 6th consecutive time, is going to the AFC Championship.
The Baltimore Ravens take on the Kansas City Chiefs for the AFC Championship, while the San Francisco 49ers face the Detroit Lions for NFC supremacy.
I envisioned that we would have a chance to compete with the big boys, and that's where we're at.
Hear coverage leading up to Championship Sunday and post-game reaction and interviews on NFL Radio Channel 88 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
And we're with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning.
Can you kind of talk about your relationship with your captain?
You know, whether I say it's a friendship or whatever we have, our bond is it's really come and really evolved.
Hey everybody, Mike from Toronto Sports Insider. Thank you all for getting us over the 7,000 subscriber mark. Let's keep it going. Let's have some fun tonight in the chat. Smash that like button down below. And hey, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, turn that notification bell on so you can hang out with us every single Leafs game or Toronto sports event. Thank you all for hanging out with us. We'll see you guys soon. Let's get back to the hockey. Go Leafs, go!
Great management, and that's the one thing the Leafs haven't done. They've never done. Dubas never did it. I think we could all argue Treliving's not off to a great start trying to do it this year. Becomes a huge challenge.
Points with Boomer Gordon.
1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio,
Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
NHL All-Star Weekend returns to Toronto, and Sirius XM NHL Network Radio brings you all the action.
Pass and a quick shot. Scores! Matthews!
Lost for Crosby for the HP. He's good.
Hear conversations with all-star players and coaches. All-Star Media Day, player draft, skills competition, and play-by-play of the 2024 All-Star Game. 2024 NHL All-Star Weekend live, beginning February 1st on NHL Network Radio, Channel 91 in the car, and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
Chris Knobloch, head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. No coaching experience in Paul Coffey. What's that been like as far as a rather unique fit as an assistant?
If you look at all the things that have improved with our team, and maybe even the most is how well our defense has been playing. Paul's done a great job of communicating with him and getting a message on just playing assertively.
NHL Morning Skate
with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick.
Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern
on NHL Network Radio,
Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
Under review.
The National Hockey League, it's the #1 league in the world. It's a tough league. It's not shinny. I never wanted to become a league where the stars get an extra step or two. And there is a real divide with some people who go, the NHL doesn't do enough for its stars. No, what we like about hockey is it's a team game.
Under review
with Mick Kerr.
11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio,
Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The Leafs return home and host the Winnipeg Jets to start a home-and-home series. And we're underway as the puck is dropped and it's back down into the Toronto zone. The Leafs are wearing my favorite jerseys tonight, the black ones with the numbers that you can't read, as Nylander swoops back in his own zone and carries to center. He'll dump it into the left wing corner. Goes in there after it, but the Jets will get to it and get it up on the wing, and Mason Appleton will get it out at center ice, and it's shot down into the Leaf end. McCabe bunting it along the boards. Holmberg got it free, got it out at center. Nylander flips it in. Pontus Holmberg goes into the corner after it against Dillon, and the puck along the boards is pushed back along for Neil Pionk, and Pionk starts out. Down the right wing he comes and sends a long shoot in wide of the Leaf goal. Laurent Brasson and Ilya Samsonov. Goalkeepers here this evening as it's pushed high back of the Winnipeg net. Nyes couldn't get it in front. On the boards, Riley has pinched in, got it into the slot area, but the Jets are there and quickly clear to center ice. Matthews filling in for Riley back there, got it ahead, played in off the stick of DeMello into the corner. And a good hit in there, takes down DeMello. Played back out at center ice, and now here the Jets into the attack with a pass by Morrissey that goes around the wall and comes all the way back out at center ice. Jets across the line, Marner intercepts, got it ahead.
Unable to get in over the line was Robertson. Around back of the net now for the Jets, and it's punched out at center ice again. No score, just nicely underway, 2 minutes in. Down the boards, and a shot by Domi went wide of the net. Centering effort doesn't work. Comes back to the blue line. Backhanded around back of the net then by McCabe. Puck comes back on the near wing, and it's going to be cleared by Winnipeg to center ice. Yarncook chasing after a loose puck. Cole Perfetti is able to play it down into the Toronto zone. Now having difficulties is Liljegren in the far corner. That's drawn a crowd. Puck up on the wing, comes back to the point. DeMello with a shot, knocked down, and the rebound, although juicy, was knocked away before any damage could be done against Samsonov.
You still like the way Samsonov handled that, didn't you?
Yep.
Followed it to his body, didn't lose the net, even though the rebound came out front.
Kupari gets in over the line now for Winnipeg, trying to sharp angle attempt that was blocked. Comes back to the blue line, now into the near corner. A centering pass back to DeMello. His shot went wide of the net, and the rebound comes all the way out at center ice, and racing after it and narrowly missing a big hit there was Noah Gregor, as Josh Morrissey had him in his sights. Boy, the bomb door was open there, and he just did get out of the way.
I think by the end of it, Morrissey probably took the brunt of the hit more than Noah Gregor did. The face-off on the ice, come all the way down. The face-off to the right of Ilya Samsonov.
Knies with a pretty good hit on DeMello. Prior to that, face-off to the right in the Toronto end. Won by the Leafs, punched around the boards to the near side. DeMello gets there to sweep it to the far point. Kept alive, and a long shot is blocked, and the Leafs trying to move it out at center ice and is brought by McCann to the line, and now forced in over the line, pushed into the corner then by Brisson, and the puck comes free, and the Leafs have it again. Shot into the glove of the Winnipeg netminder and Hell. Brisson comes in with a 7-3-1 record. He's the backup to Connor Hellebuck. He is 1-3-0 lifetime against the Leafs. And Ilya Samsonov, 6-3-6, 3.69 his goals against average. He is 2-1-0 against the Jets with a 1.35 goals against average.
Brisson also comes in, Joe, with a 4-game winning streak. He's given up just 6 goals in his last 4 games.
Played around back of the net for Knies. Centering pass by Marner was blocked. It comes back to the blue line, but out of the reach of McCabe, and it's all the way back into the Toronto zone, where goaltender Samsonov plays it off on the wing, but it is blocked. And now here are the Jets in business. Back to the point it comes. Near side now for Pionk. His shot is deflected in front of the net. Leafs are getting it to the line, but not out. Kept alive with a shot that was going wide, and Samsonov has gloved that. And will stop play and bring a face-off in the zone. Now, before the issues with Ilya Samsonov, his record was 5-2-6 with an .862 save percentage and a 3.94 goals against average. Small sample size after that, and after being waived, he is 1-1 with a 2.02 goals against average and a .900 save percentage. And he has looked much better.
Yeah, if Detroit was a small step, the home game against the Red Wings, where he gave up 2 in the third period and a loss, there was an improvement. But what we saw in Seattle was one of the few games this season where you looked at the Leaf goaltending and said that's the reason they got a point.
Played down into the Winnipeg zone.
Or 2 in that game in Seattle.
Played to the line, but not out. Leafs keeping the puck in, but a turnover there has it knocked to center ice. Connor Timmins has it go off his skate. Leafs are able to get there, and it is chipped by Benoit back into the corner. Leafs get it ahead. Up on the wing it comes, in a long rink-wide pass looking for Nylander, didn't connect. Tavares unable to reach it, and the Jets will get it out and tip it down into the Toronto zone, courtesy Toninato, and now into the corner it goes. Trying to come out is Perfetti, back of the net. Swept around the boards, pinching down is DeMello. He'll get it into the corner. Centering pass was blocked by Riley. Back of the net, Perfetti once more. Can't get it in front. And then Domi runs into a traffic jam, and it's cleared to the line, but not out. Kept in with a shot. Blockered away nicely there by Samsonov. Played on the backhand, but the Leafs don't get it out. Kept alive by Josh Morrissey. Now intercepted by Toronto, but almost stolen. And Morgan Riley then had his pocket picked. Back in come the Jets with a shot. Oh, and a brilliant pad save made there by Samsonov. Riley picked the pocket of the Jets player who returned the favor. DeMello to the left wing side. Morrissey a drive, and that's high and wide of the net. Leafs in a little trouble here as the Jets have got some zone time going and now played off the boards and out at center ice to allow a change of players. DeMello shoots it right back in again. Punched around the boards for Morgan Riley. He gets it out into neutral ice. Unable to get it into the zone, though, was David Camp. And Nate Schmidt getting it off on the left wing side. Morrissey sends it down into the Toronto end. Round back of the net, Liljegren had to get his head up there as there was traffic arriving on the scene. Liljegren trying to play it out, had it hit a leg, kept alive now by Nemesnikov. A centering pass, knocked down in front, the rebound, still free, and Samsonov is able to get on top of it. Nemesnikov knocked down right in the goal crease. But the Leafs outshot 4-1 at this point, and Samsonov has been the difference.
We talk about this all the time. Not only tracking the puck, but actually moving to where it's going. And if Samsonov doesn't make that block or save, Joe, he's got to extend his arm to get to it. If it's a drop and block, guess what? It's 1-0 Winnipeg.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Journey through the stunning sounds. Nominated for music's highest honor, the Grammy Channel returns to Sirius XM. It's me. Hi. With all the superstars. Breakthroughs. And must-hear music from a remarkable year. The Grammy Channel. Now for a limited time on Channel 107 and the new Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
And we're with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning.
Can you kind of talk about your relationship with your captain?
You know, whether I say it's a friendship or whatever we have, our bond is it's really come and really evolved over the years. He's one of the greatest, he's our greatest ambassador, but I think he's one of the greatest ambassadors for the sport. You know, the kid's a class act, and it's been really a pleasure to watch.
The Power Play.
Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern
on NHL Network Radio.
Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
The Points
with Boomer Gordon.
You think, can you pay the guy? I think what we've learned the last 4 years is that you can. Tampa, Colorado, Vegas. They were all built on elite superstar talent. But what they also had was great management. And that's the one thing the Leafs haven't done. They've never done. Dubas never did it. I think we could all argue Treliving's not off to a great start trying to do it this year. Becomes a huge challenge.
Points
with Boomer Gordon.
1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio.
Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Winnipeg Jets, 64 points, 30 victories already in the bank, 14-5-2 on the road. And just the other day, they allowed 4 goals in a hockey game. And that is a rarity. Pad save made there by Samsonov off a shot. Leaf punch it out at center. Nyes couldn't get around the defense. Brought in on the right side for Connor. Kyle Connor in on goal. And that was stopped by Samsonov as well. Another giveaway. This time it's Riley. Into the corner far side. Connor gives the puck away himself. Then the Leafs turn it over again, and diving to block that, a centering pass, knocked down by Samsonov. The scramble is on, and Ilya Samsonov is not getting any help from his buddies. They are turning the puck over with great regularity.
That's great that you've got confidence in him, but you may not want to test that too long. The Leafs have barely had any offensive zone time in the first 6 minutes and 52 seconds of this game, and Ilya Samsonov has stopped 6. That might even go up. I don't know if they added, 2 or 3 shots in that last skirmish.
Well, I would say it's got to be close to 10 at least now.
Well, 7. So
I stand corrected. Played off the boards to center, but Tavares couldn't get it, and it's shot right back into the Leaf end. Off the boards now and out at center ice. Delayed offside in effect. Leafs get it out, and Benoit will shoot it into the Jet zone, and it hasn't been down to our left very often thus far. Nylander in the neutral zone just does get it out to Tavares. He circles back into his own end. Got it ahead. Pontus Holmberg launches it into the left wing corner. Nylander in pursuit there. Puck comes free. Winnipeg breaking out, 3-on-2 rush, and it is going to be lifted into the Toronto zone by Mason Appleton, who then heads to the bench. Leafs in their own zone. Domi drops it back. Liljegren on the left wing for Riley. Riley shoots it in. Yarncrook hustling after it, but the goaltender played it away from him. And now here's Yarncrook trying to get in on the forecheck. Good job of getting a piece of Nate Schmidt. And the Jets in their own zone trying to lift it out. Turned over. Bouncing puck is taken back of the net. And Schmidt has it up on the wing, but not out. At the blue line, backhanded in by Robertson. In around the boards, Yarncrook knocked down as he tried to center. And it's cleared to the line. Good play made by Robertson in front of the net. Oh, and Domi tried to set up Yarncrook instead of shooting. And that was a bad decision. Well, in retrospect, I guess,
yes.
Since he didn't get it. Played down into the Toronto end.
I just saw a clip of an interview that Max Domi did, saying his dad, when he was a kid, got 2 players to call him, Matt Sundin and Mario Lemieux, to say, Max, you've got to shoot the puck more.
Oh, well, I know both of them. Maybe we get them to call again. Played up on the wing into the Toronto zone. And Max said, who are you guys again? And across the line come the Leafs now with Marner trying to flip it off on the near wing. Working down the boards was McCabe, and then it is pushed out at center ice. And the Leafs have to go back at center. A pass, again turned over, brought back in over the line by Barron. He loses it at the blue line, but is able to flip it in a little deeper. And the Leafs' 4th line out there now heading to the bench. Change of players coming. Leafs get it ahead. On the left wing now for Brody. He'll shoot it into the Winnipeg end. No score. We're a half minute away from the midpoint of the first period. Namestnikov playing it around back of the net. Dylan DeMello playing it up on the wing. Intercepted by the Leafs. A centering pass. Marner got a good shot away and a good glove save made by Bresson as that was labeled for the far side of the net. Best scoring chance. No, let me reiterate. Only scoring chance thus far for the Maple Leafs.
And it takes 9 minutes and 45 seconds, just the second official shot on goal. And Winnipeg came in, you mentioned the streak they had, not giving up more than 3 goals in a game. A 34-game streak that was ended in Boston by, of all things, an empty net goal by the Bruins. Their 4th was into the empty net.
So that really pretty tough to say that that's giving up defensively under those circumstances. Here the Leafs with Matthews. Got it back. Marner banking it back to the blue line. Back it goes to Marner. He works back towards the line. Sweeps it into the far corner. Now back of the net. Matthews trying to fish it free. Marner does. Marner looking in front of the net. Had his pass hit a leg. Puck comes back to the blue line where it's kept in by Brody. Down into the corner for Marner. Marner back into the slot area, and a shot is whistled wide of the net by Connor Timmins. Played to the line, but not out. Brody trying to keep it in. Nyes did, but then it comes back out into the center ice area, and the Leafs will go back to regroup. Marner launching it high into the corner. We're getting an announcement about what an alarm go off or something?
Yeah, the fire department says given clearance. Joey, that everything is fine.
Everything's fine? Good. Well, you can put your cigarette out then. You'll be fine. Nylander with a shot. That deflected wide of the net. Puck along the boards. Iafallo is able to get it out at center ice. The guy with the big cigar, would you put that out because the fire department's here? Long shot wide of the Leaf goal. Played off the boards to center. Or to the left wing side. Morrissey gets it back to DeMello. A shot, and again, Samsonov is down and takes that on the chest and holds. That'll be the 10th shot on goal for the Winnipeg Jets. There's no score. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Unhibernate. Verb. To laugh in the face of snow because you drive a Subaru. As in, when I unhibernate, I have the roads all to myself because my Subaru has symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and others don't. Or, the award-winning safety in my Subaru means I can unhibernate all winter while my neighbors stare longingly from their bedroom windows. Or my favorite usage. I am going to unhibernate this winter by visiting my local Subaru dealer today. Welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
NHL All-Star Thursday is coming to Toronto with 3 exciting events in one star-filled night. First, celebrity captains select their teams in the Tim Hortons NHL All-Star Player Draft. Then, the 1967 Stanley Cup champion Maple Leafs are honored in the NHL Alumni Man of the Year. And finally, the best in women's hockey compete in the Canadian Tire PWHL 3-on-3 Showcase. It's NHL All-Star Thursday on February 1st. Buy tickets now starting at $29 at NHL.com/Thursday.
Whatever the weather, CMC Markets is here to help. Planning for a rainy day? Enjoy $0 commission on U.S. and Canadian share CFDs. Riding out the storm? Get ahead of the curve with lightning-fast execution speeds. Blue skies ahead? Go with the trusted broker backed by over 30 years experience. Switch to CMC Markets and join over 275,000 global traders. Learn more at cmcmarkets.ca. FX spreads apply. CFDs involve a high degree of risk. Member Canadian Investor Protection Fund. Umbrella not included.
Appears we're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way tonight, Mr. Ralph. We'll have to write down the scoring and the scores and the penalties because the NHL website has...
it's been down all day.
Yeah.
We'll bring you the exciting action and information of the Leafs and the other guys.
The other fellas?
Yeah. It's just a big airplane on the scoreboard.
Huh. Oh, big sign says the cause of the alarm has been resolved. Enjoy the rest of the game.
Oh, he could if she'd stopped talking. Step one.
Step one, we've heard this. We're good. DeMello. I didn't hear the alarm. Brought in over the line. Kyle Connor got it into the left wing corner. It's played around back of the net. Banked back to DeMello at the point. A long shot. Blockered away by Samsonov. Another sharp angle shot was stopped. And Nyes is able to get the puck out, and Marner looks over his shoulder as he gets to the line and in. Now lays it around back of the net. Nyes arrived on the scene. Centering pass just out of the reach of Matthews, who comes away with a loose puck. Gets it back to the point. Lilligren walks the line, back to Matthews. Matthews holds, and now to Marner. Marner with a shot that was blocked. Marner into the corner, tried to backhand it in front. Intercepted by the Jets and punched out into the center ice area.
Smart play by Winnipeg. You get the Matthews line on. They start zipping the puck around. If you get it, just lob it out and hope they get off.
Down the boards comes Domi, but he couldn't backhand in front of the net to an awaiting Calle Yarncrook, and the puck is back at center ice, and Nick Robertson gets it up on the left wing for Riley. Morgan Riley down into the zone, dropping it back. Yarncrook looks for a man. Robertson got a shot away, and it was knocked away by goaltender Brisson. Played back to the line and into the Toronto zone. Shots are 11-3 in favor of the Winnipeg Jets. Puck in the Toronto end. Back to the point. Just kept in there by Schmidt. Banked into the corner. Brody played it up on the wing. It's going to come to the line, but not out. Played back into the Toronto zone. Both teams trying to get a change in. 6:47. Another giveaway by the Leafs. This time it's Riley again. Back into the corner now on the near side. Jets play it into the far corner. Hustling after it is Niederreiter. Niederreiter turned it over himself. Boy, there have been a lot of giveaways, haven't there? Play it out at center ice.
And really unforced errors.
Yes.
Still, I mean, full control of the puck.
Played to the line and in by the Leafs, but Camp couldn't come up with it, and it's chopped back down into the Toronto zone. Benoit, round back of the net, carries into the near corner. Launched it off the glass and into the spectators with 6:05 left to play in a scoreless first period.
It's a scary thing in that streak. Obviously, the Winnipeg Jets coming in are tops in the National Hockey League in goals against, just 2.29 goals against per game. And as we mentioned, a 34-game streak where they did not give up more than 3 goals. The first 10 games, though, Joe, of the season, 6 times out of the 10, they gave up 4 more goals. So it wasn't the great start, but Winnipeg has found a formula, and they've been riding it.
Played down into the zone, and one of our favorites is in behind their bench.
Oh, this whole organization is full of... We had a long conversation with Mark Chipman before the game. Kevin Shovel-Dayoff stuck his head into the booth to say hello. A really good group of people.
Now here's Tavares, right wing corner, tried to center it in front. That was blocked by a crowd in front of the net. And the Jets push the puck out at center ice and will backhand it down into the Toronto end. Played up on the right wing side by Toronto. In across the line. Bit of a Lone Ranger rush here for the Maple Leafs. Nye's trying to get it, or at least Timmins trying to get it in front of the net, but it was knocked away. And now the Jets get to center and backhanded back into the Leaf end. Timmins is first to it back of the net. Matthews helps out by banking it out at center down into Winnipeg territory. 4:57 to go first period. No score. The Jets come back at center. Stumbling and falling was Liljegren, but fortunately for him, it was an errant pass, and it turns out into an icing. Boy, that could have been disastrous. He literally tripped over the blue line.
Either that, or it was genius. It's the only way to make sure you get the icing.
Let's work at that angle. You know what? Let's give credit where credit is due.
They're all professionals, Mr. Bowen.
Really?
Yes.
Well, they're thinking way ahead of the curve.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, if that puck is 6 inches more towards the Leaf blue line, that's an odd man rush, or at least a breakaway coming in off the left wing.
Played down into the Toronto zone. Both teams are changing. Leafs with it in their own zone. McCabe dropping it back. Played ahead by the Leafs to center. Domi couldn't get into the zone. Robertson gets it up on the wing, and Yarncrook shoots it in and then heads to the bench. Puck down in along the boards. Domi knocking it around back of the net. Nylander after it as well, as it's brought to center ice by Adam Lowry. He is run into, but does the running into more than anything as he bowled over Pontus Holmberg. Riley to center. He'll shoot it into the Winnipeg end. Down into the corner it goes, back of the net. Trying to get it in front of the net, and a backhand try was thwarted there as Tavares got knocked into before he could get the shot away. Now the Jets back in with a sharp angle shot, and at the side of the goal. No one seemed to know exactly where that was.
Well, thankfully the official blew the whistle before it could get any worse. Yeah, that was outside the post to the left of Samsonov, who is looking everywhere but there. And fortunately, the Leafs were able to cover up and get the whistle.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
4 teams remain on the road to Super Bowl 58.
Kansas City, for the 6th consecutive time, is going to the AFC Championship.
The Baltimore Ravens take on the Kansas City Chiefs for the AFC Championship, while the San Francisco 49ers face the Detroit Lions for NFC supremacy.
I envisioned that we would have a chance to compete with the big boys, and that's where we're at.
Hear coverage leading up to Championship Sunday and post-game reaction and interviews on NFL Radio Channel 88 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
Under review.
The National Hockey League, it's the #1 league in the world. It's a tough league. It's not shinny. I never wanted to become a league where the stars get an extra step or two. And there is a real divide with some people who go, the NHL doesn't do enough for its stars. No, what we like about hockey is it's a team game.
Under Review
with Mick Kerr.
11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio,
Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Hey Toronto, I'm David Morsuti, host of the daily Toronto Maple Leafs podcast, Locked On Leafs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network on the Sirius XM app. Every weekday, we bring you the latest Leafs news and analysis, break down all the action, including this game you're listening to right now, and preview the next one. We're giving you everything a Leafs fan could want, all in a daily 30-minute podcast. Download Locked On Leafs right now on the Sirius XM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or where you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Leafs.
The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back, stick handles to the backhand, moves in front, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
And the Winnipeg Jets, nothing.
And really, you can see why the Winnipeg Jets have had success. I mean, they have given the Leafs nothing. Now, Toronto hasn't been sharp, especially in their own end. But they've only mustered 3 shots at the other end.
Well, it's the old first home game after the long Western road trip. Maybe staring the Leafs in the face here, but so far, goaltender Ilya Samsonov has made sure they're in the game. There's a shot by Marner that deflects wide of the net. McCabe trying to keep the puck in at the blue line, banks it into the near corner. Grabbed off there by Nyes. Matthew Nyes against the wall, trying to chip it back in the net for Matthews. He reverses. Got it in front. Nyes with a shot. That was blocked. Matthews with it now. To the point it goes. Kept in by Benoit. Benoit to the far side. Banked along the boards for Matthews. Chipped to the blue line, and it's going to be brought out by Kyle Connor. Connor gets into the Leaf zone. Poked away from him. Into the corner goes Namestnikov. Trying to center. That was stopped again by Samsonov. And the puck in along the boards. Matthews punching it ahead for the Leafs to center is Marner. Marner across the line with McCabe. Just backhands it in around back of the net. Change is coming for the Maple Leafs here. Camp in against the boards. And the Jets are able to secure it and skate it back to center and dumped in by Iafallo. In around back of the net, a centering pass. Intercepted. Stick handling with it. The side of the net there was Gregor. Brought back at center now by Riley. I highly advise that that's not a good area to be doing what he was doing.
Yeah, things aren't going that good in this game.
No. Puck down in the Winnipeg end. David Camp works against the boards. Trying to free it up. Does. Sharp angle try there by McMahon. Went off the side of the net. Leafs keep it in at the point. Brody. Left wing side. Riley. A shot. Brisson, and there'll be a face-off coming as Camp gets a little push and a shove from Brendan Dillon, which has brought about some extracurricular action, but nothing too serious.
Yep. Neil Pionk there as well. Throwing some straight arms. The Leafs shot total up to 4 with 1:36 to go here in the opening period.
Jets are 14-2-2 in their last 18 games, but 2-2-0 in their last 4. And they're missing some important folk.
Now, Mark Scheifele obviously is the big one. Gabe Velarde's another one. He was picked up in the deal that saw Pierre-Luc Dubois go to Los Angeles.
How's that trade working out?
Better for the Jets.
Guess it is. Now the Kings don't know what to do about their side of the trade as things have kind of gone sideways. Puck back into the center ice area for Winnipeg. DeMello gets it in on the left wing. Kuparian with a shot and off a stick. It caroms up into the screen with 1:16 to go in a scoreless first period.
Alex Iafallo was the other LA King that came over in that trade and has been solid for the Jets. But, I mean, you shouldn't be too surprised. Even last year in goals against, they had an off year. Hellebuck didn't have a great year, but they were 10th. 2.73 goals against on the season for the Winnipeg Jets. The Leafs have gone the other way. They were 7th overall last year, 21st in goals against this year.
Bouncing puck Into the far corner, knocked around back of the net, scooped there by Appleton to the blue line. Good play to keep it in, but it's into the near corner. Leafs get there first, but unable to pry it up the boards. Less than a minute to go in the frame. Puck still in the Toronto zone. And this could go on for a while. Oh, now it does come free. Schmidt at the point with a pass in front, and it rolls just to the side of the goal. And now Connor Timmins is in a little shoving match in front of the net. So
that's Adam Lowry. Came in late. Niederreiter's in there as well.
42.9 seconds to go in the first period, and there is no score.
I'm not sure they knew that Simon Benoit was on the ice for the Leafs, because if you want to start something, he's a pretty willing dance partner.
Yes, he is. Referees. Oh, sorry, Jerry.
No, I was just going to say 42.9 seconds left as the Tavares line will head off.
Referees tonight are John McIsaac and Brendan Schrader. Steve Barton and Shander Alfonso are the linesmen. The draw won by Winnipeg. Played around the boards back of the Toronto goal. Jets get there first, and stolen back nicely by Matthews, then turned over by the Leafs. A chance in front, and a shot went over top of the goal. Centering effort by Nemestikov was blocked. Great chance there for Kyle Connor. Back to the point, kept in by the Jets. Another shot, blockered away again by Samsonov. 18 seconds left in the period. Leafs trying to get out without a goal being scored. Pass in front, comes back to the blue line. The Leafs, Nyes is going to get it to center.
Well, if ever there was a moral victory, that was the opening period here. 15-4, the shots favoring the Winnipeg Jets, and the Leafs exit the period tied 0-0.
They're going to have to unpack their legs from the long road trip, because they didn't have much going in the first period, to be sure. As Jimmy mentioned, 15-4, the shots on goal, and Ilya Samsonov is the reason it is a scoreless tie. We'll step aside. Dave Feschuk and Jim Taddy coming along with our first period intermission. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Busted Open is hitting the road for live coverage of the WWE Royal Rumble with stars like Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and CM Punk. It's going to be legendary.
CM Punk is entering the Royal Rumble.
Join Sam Roberts and Tommy Dreamer as they broadcast live from Tampa Bay to preview the WWE's first big event of the year. It's Busted Open.
Are you kidding me?
Live from the Royal Rumble, Friday at 9 Eastern, only on Sirius XM Fight Nation Channel 156 in the car and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
And we're with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning.
Can you kind of talk about your relationship with your captain?
You know, whether I say it's a friendship or whatever we have, our bond is it's really come and really evolved over the years. He's one of the greatest, he's our greatest ambassador, but I think he's one of the greatest ambassadors for the sport. You know, the kid's a class act, and it's been really a pleasure to watch.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
You think, can you pay the guy? I think what we've learned the last 4 years is that you can. Tampa, Colorado, Vegas. They were all built on elite superstar talent. But what they also had was great management. And that's the one thing the Leafs haven't done. They've never done. Dubas never did it. I think we could all argue Treliving's not off to a great start trying to do it this year. Becomes a huge challenge.
Points with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
NHL All-Star Weekend returns to Toronto, and Sirius XM NHL Network Radio brings you all the action.
Pass and a quick shot. Scored! Matthews! Lost for Crosby for the HP. He's good!
Hear conversations with all-star players and coaches. All-Star Media Day, player draft, skills competition, and play-by-play of the 2024 All-Star Game. 2024 NHL All-Star Weekend live. Beginning February 1st on NHL Network Radio, Channel 91 in the car, and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
Chris Knobloch, head coach of the Edmonton Oilers, no coaching experience in Paul Coffey. What's that been like as far as a rather unique fit as an assistant?
If you look at of all the things that have improved with our team, and maybe even the most is how well our defense has been playing. Paul's done a great job of communicating with him and getting a message on just playing assertively.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
Under review.
The National Hockey League, it's the number one league in the world. It's a tough league. It's not shinny. I never wanted to become a league where the stars get an extra step or two. And there is a real divide with some people who go, the NHL doesn't do enough for its stars. No. What we like about hockey is it's a team game.
Under review with Mick Kerr, 11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey is on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
And it is scoreless after 20 minutes of play. TSN After 20 is brought to you by your Ontario Subaru dealers. Hurry to your local Subaru dealer to get more out of every kilometer, including more karaoke. Jim Daddy, Dave Feschek from the Toronto Star here. Scoreless, 15-4. Winnipeg out shooting the Leafs. And the one noticeable difference in Samsonov, except for one play, you could see him track the puck.
Yeah, he looked really solid. I mean, he had a lot of work to do because the Leafs were in the habit of giving the puck away in their own zone an awful lot. And Timothy Liljegren gave a handful of pucks away to the Winnipeg Jets inexplicably with really nobody on him. Not a lot of pressure, just giving them away. Morgan Riley had his pocket picked a couple times, and it all resulted in a lot of pressure on Samsonov to come up with those 15 saves.
He certainly looked sharp. You could see him following the puck, as I said, tracking it. And, you know, well, I said to you in the press box, you're watching Winnipeg play and they go, it's just like Carolina. They won't let you advance. They're on you. They've got pressure on the puck carrier. There was one play where Iafallo shot the puck in to the Leaf zone, went around two Leafs and stripped it off the guy who got it.
Yeah.
And that's pretty passive by the Leafs.
Very passive. I mean, hey, they always say first game back after a long road trip can be difficult on your legs. The Leafs are definitely showing that right here.
Yeah.
Because, after that 4-game Western swing, they do not look sharp. As opposed to Samsonov is the exception, I guess. But, man, you're right, Winnipeg. I mean, Sheldon Keefe talked about it this morning at the morning skate, talking about how the challenge tonight is getting access to their zone, getting access to their net. They are not granting access.
No.
They do not make it easy to, A, get across the blue line, and then once you do, and the Leafs did a few times, but once you do, man, they park the bus, I guess you call it in soccer, around that net and make it very difficult to move anything.
Well, but that's the game that we enjoy. I mean, when you see a team come in and you see that defensive structure and the puck pursuit, and you go, well, those are missing elements on the Leafs on a consistent basis. The Leafs don't present to me a defending stat. What am I looking for? A defensive structure,
right?
As you see with Carolina or Winnipeg and other teams.
No, you don't. And it's when you look at the success of the Jets this season, they've been by far the best defensive team in the league. What do you hear? You hear buy-in, right? Everybody on this team has bought into this system, to this structure, to this way of doing business. And it's a great credit to the coaching staff, but also to the guys on this roster who've said, obviously, there's got to be a lot of internal policing where everybody's, kind of pulling on the rope in the same direction. And as a result, you get a team that is very difficult to play against.
Oh, and they are. And so that's, you're talking about the Jets' DNA. Who are the Winnipeg Jets? Well, as you saw in the first period. Now, again, the Leafs are road weary and aren't skating well, and that could be rectified over the course of this game or when they play in Winnipeg on Saturday. But I want to believe that the Jets play like this most of the time.
Well, they do. I mean, their record shows it, right? You don't go 34 straight games as they just did until they lost 4-1 to Boston on Monday night. They had 34 straight games with 3 or fewer goals against. Just a remarkable run during that, that incredible run. They're allowing less than 2 goals a game on average. You don't do that by accident, right? That's just not Connor Hellebuck saving their butts on a regular basis, because we're seeing tonight Connor Hellebuck's not in net. It's Laurent Brossoit.
He's not even on the bench.
And, we don't even see a backup on the bench for Winnipeg. But Brossoit has not exactly been tested. I mean, 4 shots against. The Leafs had a couple good chances. Nick Robertson had a decent chance. Mitch Marner had a good slot chance. Max Domi had a chance in the slot midway through the period, decided not to shoot it for some inexplicable reason. Man, when you get a shot against these guys, you've got to take it, especially with their backup goalie in there. But, it hasn't been heavy lifting for the Winnipeg goaltender because the Winnipeg structure is just so stout.
So the numbers pretty well describe it. We said 54 shots on goal. Shot attempts by the Leafs, 14 shot attempts by Winnipeg. Let me use some quick math here. 28.
Yep.
Giveaways by Winnipeg, 4 by the Leafs, 8. I mean, that's pretty well your whole story right there.
Yeah, and that's probably a generous number on the giveaways. They've only got Liljegren down for a couple. Actually, they got him down for 1. But I can count off the top of my head. I can count at least 2 or 3 others that Liljegren gave away in the Maple Leaf zone. I mean, there's been some inexplicable stuff from the Maple Leafs, just some brain cramp stuff that they've got to correct here. And you got to believe Shelton Keefe is highly encouraging them to snap out of this little malaise and get playing for the final 40 minutes here.
Well, the best number, I guess, if you're a Leaf fan, is it's scoreless after 20 minutes of play. This could be a lot worse.
Yeah, and credit to Samsonov. I mean, this has been the huge storyline of the game, of Samsonov getting a second straight start after all that he's been through over the holidays and being waived and, clearing waivers and taking some time away. Really good sign for Samsonov to be, as you say, tracking the puck very well, really centered in his crease, looking very square to the puck on almost everything he saw. That is definitely the positive storyline of a pretty mundane period for the Maple Leafs.
And they found another shot, so the Jets have 16-4.
Yeah.
16. That and the wacky fire department announcement that kept playing that we could resume regular activities.
Yes.
I must have missed the one where we had to stop regular activities.
Exactly. Well, the Maple Leafs, maybe that'll be the thing that gets the Maple Leafs going here, that they've appeared to have fixed that bug in the fire alarm system. We're not hearing that announcement repeatedly anymore, which is a great sign. And maybe, from here on out, it'll be a team resuming actually getting to the opposing net, which is what the Maple Leafs have to do against Winnipeg and really haven't done it yet.
I'm just curious to know what you would change to make that happen, because I have to believe that Winnipeg has to participate in the change.
Well, look, it's the formula's not that tough, right? You got to get in the zone. You may have to dump it in occasionally, because it's very tough to skate it into this zone the way they defend that blue line and close gaps and make it very tough to gain entry to the zone. But once you get it in there, it's old school hockey. You gotta take the fight to them. You gotta be physical. You're gonna have to strip them of pucks the way you talked about Iafallo stripping the Leafs of a puck on a similar forecheck. It's just about having the will and the skill to get in there. And look, the top line did. Matthews' line, I thought, had some moments where they were able to gain some zone time, but Winnipeg keeps you to the outside pretty well.
Scoreless after 20 minutes of play, and this is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuss shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
There are many peculiar words in the English language. Words like salivigant, peregrinate, nemophilus, peripatetic, and conviviality. Yet, there is no word for getting the most out of winter in your Subaru, thanks to symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and X-Mode. Until now. We call it unhibernate. As in, while your neighbors stay home, you'll be unhibernating all winter in your Subaru. So peregrinate to your local Subaru dealer today, and welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
Welcome, families. This is your Viamone pre-boarding invitation to a first-class and free French education. The Viamone French Language School Board is proud to be awarded the highest success rate in the most recent provincial tests. Your elementary open house boarding is on now. So please visit csviamone.ca to select your first class tour. Welcome aboard. Conseil scolaire Viamone.
Ready to wake up in a new destination nearly every day with Norwegian Cruise Line? Book today with free second guests to Alaska, Europe, and beyond. Plus, everyone can enjoy their vacation with free unlimited open bar, free specialty dining, and more. Visit ncl.com, call your travel advisor, or 1-888-NCL-CRUISE. Offer ends soon. Norwegian Cruise Line. Ships registry the Bahamas and USA. Restrictions apply.
The rest of my life gonna start today.
How to fix broken furnace. What's a heat exchanger?
You might not know how to fix a furnace, but we do. We're Reliance Home Comfort, and we'll take your call 24/7. And if you need a new one, ask us about our next day or we pay installation guarantee. And right now, pay no interest for 12 months on a featured furnace. So if you need help fast,
Call our Reliance.
Financing OAC for a 12-month term with no interest accruing. Conditions apply. See website for details.
Maple Toyota knows you love sports and trucks, so they have a deal that's a real slam dunk, a touchdown. Right now, when you purchase any new in-stock short box Toyota Tundra, you'll score big with a free genuine Toyota Trifold Hard tonneau cover or running boards, your choice. Offer ends January 31st. Make every day feel like game day. Make it easy. Make it Maple. Maple Toyota, next to Wonderland and mapletoyota.com.
Part of the Zankin Auto Group.
The Out-of-Town Scoreboard is brought to you by Maple Toyota. Build your next dream Toyota at Maple Toyota. And check out Maple Toyota's pre-owned inventory arriving daily. Guy, I think it's time to Toyota. Visit mapletoyota.com. Here's what we have. Into the first period is the Panthers 3-0 over the Coyotes. In the first period, it is Boston and the Canes scoreless. Later on, getting set to start at 9:30, Washington and Colorado. St. Louis and Vancouver at 10, also at 10. The Chicago Blackhawks visiting Seattle, and at 10:30, the Buffalo Sabres in LA against the Kings. In our game, it is scoreless. The Jets and Leafs after 20 minutes of play. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey at TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
Let's go, football fans. This week on Let's Go with Tom Brady and Larry Fitzgerald and me, Jim Gray. How do you beat Patrick Mahomes?
He's an incredible competitor, and I think it's on display in the biggest moments. So got so many of the intangibles. So beyond his ability to throw the ball, he's a fierce competitor. They got a great team. They got really well coached. It's been a great organization.
Listen now to the extended version of Let's Go, exclusively on the SiriusXM app, included with all our trials and popular plans. Let's go, baby.
Let's go. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
And we're with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning.
Can you kind of talk about your relationship with your captain?
You know, whether I say it's a friendship or whatever we have, our bond is completely, it's really come and really evolved over the years. He's one of the greatest, well, he's our greatest ambassador, but I think he's one of the greatest ambassadors for the sport. You know, the kid's a class act, and it's been really a pleasure to watch.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
You think, can you pay the guy? I think what we've learned the last 4 years is that you can. Tampa, Colorado, Vegas. They were all built on elite superstar talent. But what they also had was great management. And that's the one thing the Leafs haven't done. They've never done. Dubas never did it. I think we could all argue Treliving's not off to a great start trying to do it this year. Becomes a huge challenge.
Points with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on SiriusXM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on SiriusXM FC 157 and streaming on the SiriusXM app.
the biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Leafs nothing and the Winnipeg Jets nothing, but a solid period for the Jets, who outshoot the Maple Leafs 15-4. And Ilya Samsonov gives the Leafs at least a chance to get back into this hockey game, as we will see what transpires for the second period. Giveaways, the Leafs had 8 in the first period. 3 at a time, it seemed, and that might be a very generous assessment on the giveaway.
Yeah, I think we might have been the Russian judges at the Olympics on that, right? I think we would have been a little harder.
Wasn't it the French judge that got into trouble too?
I don't know, but some are always tougher on certain athletes. But you're right, you get 16-4 in shots. You're lucky to be around. And we talked about the Winnipeg Jets and how they're looking. How about this? Mark Scheifele and Connor Hellebuck. Neither of which are playing in this game tonight, but they both signed identical 7-year, $8.5 million contract extensions that kick in next season. That's pretty good, hometown discount for two very, very elite players.
Played down on at least to the left and the Jets to the right as it's in the Toronto zone. Nylander swinging it around on the far side. McCabe just does get it out at center ice. Now at the Winnipeg blue line, punch back the center. Leafs will get it to the red line and shoot it in. We are wondering where Connor Hellebuck is, to be honest with you.
He's not on the bench.
No. Down into the corner it goes and swept around the boards to the near side. And the puck finally is just batted on the backhand by Neil Pionk down into the Leaf end. Morgan Riley goes back. Last home game before the All-Star break and the All-Star game festivities here in Toronto. Shot into the Toronto zone, but well shy of center ice. And Ilya Samsonov, a heads-up play. Even though the puck banked right back out in front of his net, he left it alone, and that is an icing call against the...
You better have faith in the linesman, though.
Yes, you do, yeah.
Make it the right call.
Yes, that's probably a good point, yes. Draw to the right in the Winnipeg end. Controlled by the Jets, banked off the wing, not out. Shot from the point there by Liljegren was blocked. Now a lead pass at center for Ehlers on goal, and that was kicked away nicely by Samsonov. Cleared to the line and out. And it's brought in again offside. And the first period went lickety-split. The second period has started at a snail's pace. But the Jets have got the first 2 shots on goal of this period and are out shooting the Leafs 17-4.
I'll tell you something else that's got to change, and we haven't seen any signs tonight that it will. That's the Leafs have got to be much better on home ice. I mean, it's incredible when you look at that 10-9-2 record at home.
Played off the boards on the wing. Knocked away by Yarncrook. He finds Domi, and Domi can't do much more than just to send it high, and then a penalty coming here on a really senseless play. Dominic Toninato is going to get an interference penalty as he stepped into Calle Yarncrook and sent him sprawling with no one in the vicinity.
Penalty number 21, 2 minutes for interference.
All right, well, one thing about the Winnipeg Jets, and this is so baffling to me, that you could be 3rd overall in the National Hockey League, and your power play and penalty kill are the 23rd best in the NHL. Both exactly 23rd overall. Goes to show you 5-on-5. They're pretty good, though, doesn't it?
Power play brought to you by your Ontario Subaru dealers. Get more value out of every kilometer in a Subaru, starting with award-winning safety at your local Subaru dealer. Leafs with the puck in the offensive zone off a face-off win. Marner down into the corner. Centering pass in front of the backhand shot. That was scooped up nicely by Brisson. As a good play in front of the net. John Tavares trying to end a streak that has gone 8 games, the longest of his career, without a point. Ironically, he had 2 7-game streaks, and they were in the same season. Well,
even for Tavares, just 5 goals in his last 29.
Draw to the right. Tavares scrums the draw. The puck is cleared off a stick to the near boards and punched out at center ice. Nylander taking his time, dropping it back. Marner stretches things out, gives it back to Willie. Nylander coming through center, tried to play it back and banked it right off a Winnipeg player's skate. The Jets now have it in over the line with Adam Lowry. Dropping it back now for Iafallo. Iafallo against the boards, trying to hold it there a little bit longer, and the Leafs finally come away with it. Nylander could have just skated it into the zone. Now they'll bring it out. Marner through center. Left wing feed. Matthews in across the line. Got it back from Tavares. Swept around the boards. Just kept in at the blue line by Nylander. Pass into the slot for Tavares. Onto the left wing for Riley. Riley down into the corner for Marner. Marner looking in front. Tavares is there. Matthews shaded off to the side. Centering effort by Riley didn't work. And now it's going to be grabbed off by the Jets and played in front of their own goal. And a chance to clear and do. That was not an impressive power play for the number 1 unit, who failed to get a shot on goal. Now Nylander cruises through center, hits the line, trying to dish it off on the wing. Got some help there from Connor Timmins, who played it into the corner, but it's knocked out at center ice. And here's a 2-0 breakaway for the Jets. A pass, big save, another shot. What a save by Olli Makina! A 2-0 breakaway, and it is thwarted by Ilya Samsonov. They're on their feet here, and they should be. That was absolutely unbelievable. Leafs get it in over the line and turn it over again. Lowry back the other way. 2 brilliant saves with no one in the vicinity to help, and another shot is stopped by Samsonov, and they're on their feet.
2-0 from the Winnipeg blue line. Talked about how the power play has struggled. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. And Ilya Samsonov makes 2 incredible stops on the 2-0. Now, Winnipeg might have got away with a trip as Willie Nylander was coming into the Winnipeg zone and got tripped up. That forced the turnover. And then the clear led to the 2-0 back the other way.
Brought out at center by the Leafs, but an errant pass. Penalty is over, fortunately, as it's back down into the Winnipeg end. And they're chanting, Sammy, Sammy. Good for the crowd here and good for Samsonov. Back to the point it comes. Leafs get it back to Liljegren. Shot sent wide of the net. Rebound far side for McMahon. He plays into the corner. Chipped along back of the net. Noah Gregor takes a high stick. And there's going to be a penalty here. And now it's touched. And how severe is the high stick?
Well, referee calling over the linesman. So it's going to be tough to sell. Is it going to be 4? Trying to see what they know. Looks like it's 2. The official is holding up. Usually if you've got a call over the linesman for his medical opinion on whether it's a cut or not.
Penalty number 5.
I don't
for high
think you're going to 4.
Excuse me, did you go to the Western Medical School?
Dr. Welby? So, Leafs get the second power play of the game. And it's hard to believe they're being outshot 21-6.
Winnipeg penalty to number 5, Brendan Dillon, 2 minutes for high sticking.
Jets have won the faceoff and shoot it down the ice. I think after that, when the whistle went, I think if I'm coaching personally, I call timeout. And that rant that Paul Maurice had last year, I would be going crazy. Again, a centering pass doesn't work, but Nyes unable to get to it, and it is shot down the ice by Winnipeg.
Boy, second unit not much better than the first. 34 seconds into the second of the back-to-back power plays.
Brought on now by Domi. Second unit starts this one because of what transpired just a few minutes ago, I believe. Here's a pass for Robertson. Back to the point. A stick explodes off the stick of Timmins, who goes to the bench. And he could have been penalized there for not dropping the broken stick, the handle. The blade went flying, but he skated with the handle all the way to the bench. Brought out now by Toronto. To the line, dropping it back, and I'm not sure what the Leafs had in mind with that. That was Morgan Rielly dropping. Out brought on by Nylander to the line now for Liljegren. He's going to swing it around back of the net to the far side to Tavares. Into the corner. Tavares gets it back again, far half boards. Tries to center it, and it is caught by Bresson, and there'll be a face-off coming in the Winnipeg zone.
Now the scoreboard might look a little different than when the Leafs got beat 9-3 in Buffalo. But I'm going to put this. And we're only halfway through the game, but I'm sliding this into that category of one of the most disappointing games of the season. Because Ilya Samsonov, everybody knows how much heat he's taken for his play this season, up until the win in Seattle on Sunday. You would think there would be some urgency to reward him at the other end, would you not?
Well,
and they just haven't been sharp. One of those nights that they're extremely fortunate to be to within, I'd say, within 2 or 3 in this game.
Absolutely.
Let alone scoreless midway through the second.
Holmberg scrums the draw. It comes back to the blue line, and out at center ice it comes. Leafs with 18 seconds left in the penalty. Fired in or on the board's far side. Tavares unable to get to it. Played back out at center ice. Morgan Rielly has to hustle back. Now runs into a traffic jam, but is able to get it to Liljegren. Liljegren feeds it ahead. Brought in over the line by Yarncrook, who got into the zone. Took a bit of a high stick there, or at least it was Pontus Holmberg. And the puck comes free, and now the Jets are able to break it out at center ice. Kyle Connor in on the right wing. Stops it up. Connor dropping it back on the left wing side. A deflection in front of the goal is chipped wide of the net. Leafs caught a break there. Caught a break. They've had all kinds of breaks so far because the score is 0-0. In across the line now for McMahon. Dropping it in along the boards. McCabe couldn't come up with it. McMahon does. Gets it back into the blue line area. The Leafs turn the puck over again. And across the line for Kyle Connor. Connor works to the half-wing boards. A shot then rings wide of the net. Pinching down is Schmidt to keep it in for Winnipeg. Back of the net in Namestnikov. Stolen back by Toronto. Played ahead on the wing, and out comes Robertson to center. Robertson with a little head fake, got it into the left wing boards, gets it returned around back of the net. He's rubbed off the puck, and it is cleared by Winnipeg out into neutral ice. Iafallo able to bring it in on the backhand, set it high and wide. Taking his man to the net was Timmins, but the puck into the far corner now. Benoit chases after his man. Couple of hits there, but it is still maintained by Winnipeg, and a shot deflects into the corner. Benoit chipping it into an empty corner on the near side. But the Jets get there first. They have been a step ahead and a step smarter throughout the course of this game, which has 11:45 to go in the second period. Played down in along the boards, Toninato. Toninato works out of the corner, gets it back to the point. Dillon with a shot, and there again is Samsonov, who has miraculously kept this team in this game, facing 21 shots, and it is still scoreless. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 in the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
How to fix broken furnace. What's a heat exchanger?
You might not know how to fix a furnace, but we do. We're Reliance Home Comfort, and we'll take your call 24/7. And if you need a new one, ask us about our next day or we pay installation guarantee. And right now, pay no interest for 12 months on a featured furnace. So if you need help fast,
call our Reliance. Reliance.
Financing OAC for a 12-month term with no interest accruing. Conditions apply. See website for details.
Yep, it's getting colder out there. What you need is a sell-off vacation. I know what you're thinking, but did you know? You can book now and pay later.
What?
Like that family getaway to Tulum. Or maybe a beach vacation just for two. Romantic. Pack that suitcase and dive straight into paradise with
SellOffVacations.com.
monthly payment applicants are subject to approval by Uplift Canada. See website for details.
At LG Home Comfort, we make comfortable affordable. In addition to great deals on heat pumps, furnaces, ACs, water heaters, softeners, and purifiers, LG Home Comfort is Canadian-owned and operated and focuses on exceptional service with expert installation by our trained technicians. LG Home Comfort will make sure you cash in on every rebate and finance option you're eligible for. Call us today to book a free in-home consultation or visit lghomecomfort.ca.
The Leafs nothing and the Winnipeg Jets nothing. And Ilya Samsonov has been absolutely outstanding in facing 21 Winnipeg shots, including a first ever in my book. That is a 2-on-0 shorthanded rush where he had to make 2 10-bell saves before anybody got back to help out.
It starts at the red line, like off the rush. Not a turnover or anything, off the rush. A 2-on-0 break. And you're right. I don't recall. I mean, you thought the first one was the great save, and then he makes another one on the rebound. But right now, he has been, as you've said, the Lone Ranger.
Here's a chance now for Nemestikov, and he couldn't get a shot away, but he comes away with the loose puck. Still with it, down low and around back of the net. Jets looking for a man in front. Twisting with it is Kyle Connor. Connor still with it. Fanned on a pass. Runs into a traffic jam. That is pushed around back of the Toronto goal. Brody stops up. Looks for a man. Gives it off to Morgan Riley. Returned to Brody. He'll get to center on the backhand and send it in. Second period brought to you by Molson. Whether it's Canadian Ultra, Export, or XL, there's a Molson with your name on it. Played along the boards by the Leafs in their own zone. Nylander starts away. Rink-wide pass. Brought in over the line now by McCabe with a shot from a sharp angle. Handled easily by Brisson. And it's back out at center ice. And a foot race now. Trying to get back. Good play made there by Brody to get back and knock it away from the Winnipeg player breaking in. McCabe punches it out at center. Nylander couldn't come up with it. It's a delayed offside. Leafs will bank it over on the near side with skating room. Tavares in on the right side. Now barges around back of the net. Tried to center. It's a bouncing puck in the goal crease area. Cleared back to the blue line. Timmins fanned on a pass, but the Leafs are able to keep it in. Nylander in the near corner. Trying to work it back towards the blue line. Still with it. Turns back towards the net. Goes around back of the goal. Into the corner. Ran into his own man. And the puck goes free. And you know what? That pretty much just tells you exactly how this first half of this game has gone. Now they're checking each other.
Yeah, you don't turn the puck over until your own guy knocks it away from you.
No. Back into the Toronto zone. Centering pass. Gobbled up by Connor Timmins. Flipped up on the wing and out at center it comes. Brought in on the right wing now. A chance for Robertson. A shot. Got a good shot away, and that may have taken a little bit out of Brisson, who is flexing that right arm. May have caught him in a bit of a spot that didn't have all of the padding in. He still seems to be having a little difficult with it.
Maybe because he hasn't had any work. It just woke him up.
Good point. There's a pass out at center.
Scared him.
It rolls in on Samsonov, and he's going to cover up on
21.
What's that
to
funny
9
little
shots.
round thing? Yeah.
What?
Why did they shoot that at me?
Last I remember hearing was a lady saying that the fire alarm is okay.
Actually, an alarm might be well worth it. Maybe
Boy, I mean, but you know.
You understand, coming home from the West Coast, every team goes through these things. But my goodness, usually.
But I mean, you're in a position now. You've won one of your last 6 at home, And that was against San Jose, coming home for the long road trip, because the Sharks had the same flight as the Leafs did coming back. But I mean, just, the number of games that they've just squandered on home ice. And you give Winnipeg respect, but not this much.
Leafs trying to break in there with Bobby McMahon. That didn't work. It's punched back to the Toronto blue line. Liljegren steps up to the red line, and he'll shoot it into the Winnipeg end. Down the boards, it comes in front. And spinning with a quick shot was Noah Gregor, but he sent it wide. It was the right play. It was the right thought. He just missed the net. Jets get it down into the Toronto end. Round back of the net it goes for Samberg. Dylan Samberg trying to play it back to the blue line, but that was out of the reach of any of the Jets, and it's down into Winnipeg territory. Dylan getting it ahead. Jets to the line. These two teams meet each other in a rare home-and-home affair, which will be in Saturday in Winnipeg. Shot from the blue line, deflects wide of the Leaf goal. Far side for Mason Appleton. Another shot blocked in front of the net. Grabbed off by Nyes. Played high to center ice. Marner almost stole the puck. The puck comes back into the Winnipeg end, and now Niederreiter gets to center, only to have it intercepted by Toronto and played back. 7.5 minutes to go here in the period. Leafs turn the puck over, but then quickly play it back at center. Jets were trapped inside the zone and now are heading to the bench for a change of players.
Well, we just got word that Josh Morrissey, the defenseman for the Winnipeg Jets, is left with an injury and will not return tonight. So you look over on that Winnipeg bench. We mentioned no Connor Hellebuck. And now Josh Morrissey. There's a lot of room, isn't there, in that Winnipeg bench?
You wonder if maybe Hellebuck has got
battling
a bit of
something.
the flu or something, and they don't want to have him on the bench just to be cautious. So he might be ready to play if required, but he is not on the Winnipeg bench.
So,
icing call here against Winnipeg. 6:54 to go in the second period. There is no score, and the Leafs are being outshot 21-11.
And so at this very point, they don't have their top goaltender, their top forward, point-wise, or their top defenseman in the lineup, but are outplaying the Leafs soundly here.
Played back into the Toronto end. Riley banks it out at center. DeMello shoots it right back in again. Round on the boards, it comes to the near side. Chipped ahead, and the Leafs break it out with Tavares getting to the line and in. Tavares into the slot, and he ripped the shot high and wide of the goal. Round back of the net, it comes to the Leafs. Centering pass, looking for Tavares, didn't work. Another shot from the point, deflects wide of the goal off the stick of Morgan Riley, and now back at center ice, it's Connor Timmins playing it off on the wing, and now Nylander, or at least Robertson, over the line. Robertson getting it back now for Timmins, going wide. Timmins still with it, tries to center. That's blocked. He gets it again. That's stopped and then smothered by Brisson.
Maybe the best bit of pressure the Leafs have had in this game, Joe. Actually getting the puck towards the net. But in the end, the Winnipeg Jets were able to box out the Leaf forwards and allow Brossoit to find it.
6:05 to play in the second period. There is no score, and you're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hey, what's going on? This is Kevin Hart, host of Gold Mines on Laugh Out Loud Radio, Channel 96. Here to tell you about the brand new Sirius XM app. Check out my new personal page on the fully redesigned app to see all the places that you can hear me and also keep up with all the latest episodes and more. Just search Kevin Hart in the app to find me, and then keep exploring to add all your Sirius XM favorites and your new discoveries to your library. The brand new Sirius XM app is helping you find and connect with me and the personalities that you know and love from all of the Sirius XM family.
NHL All-Star Weekend returns to Toronto, and SiriusXM NHL Network Radio brings you all the action.
Pass and a quick shot. Scores! Matthews! Lost for Crosby for the HP. He's good!
Hear conversations with all-star players and coaches. All-Star Media Day, player draft, skills competition, and play-by-play of the 2024 All-Star Game. 2024 NHL All-Star Weekend live, beginning February 1st on NHL Network Radio, Channel 91 in the car, and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
Chris Knobloch, head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. No coaching.
Hey everybody, Mike from Toronto Sports Insider. Thank you all for getting us over the 7,000 subscriber mark. Let's keep it going. Let's have some fun tonight in the chat. Smash that like button down below. And hey, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Turn that notification bell on so you can hang out with us every single Leafs game or Toronto sports event. Thank you all for hanging out with us. We'll see you guys soon. Let's get back to the hockey. Go Leafs, go!
Winnipeg zone, 6:05 to play in the second period, and no score in the hockey game, which is a testament to Ilya Samsonov, who has been outstanding. Shot back into the Toronto end. Samsonov out of the goal to play it into the corner to Connor Timmins. Up ahead for Robertson, left wing side. Benoit gets it to the line and in, but couldn't penetrate. And now passed out at center ice. The Jets wire it to the line, but not into the zone. Leafs getting it back with Domi in on the left wing. A shot by Robertson is into the glove of Bresson, and he'll hold on. Robertson has had some jump and had at least a couple of good scoring chances. Not much else to write about.
In Robertson's last 6 games, he scored 4 goals. But all mixed into that, he's been a healthy scratch 7 of the 10 games. The last 10 are, I guess, 8 of 11 coming into this one. So if you're Nick Robertson, you're saying, we got a lot of offers on the board, whether it's David Kempf or Noah Gregor, Kalle Järnkrok,
John Tavares.
It's not one of those.
I'm not playing well.
Yeah.
Leafs win the face-off. Nylander works back on his backhand, then goes to the forehand, trying to come out in front with a shot, and that was blocked before it reached the net. Leafs are able to keep it in at the blue line. Back of the net now, looking to try and get it in front of the net was Tavares. Järnkrok was after it. Penalty coming to Winnipeg.
Well, this is a bizarre game. We've talked about games where the Leafs dominate and don't seem to get the power plays. This is the exact opposite.
Winnipeg, number 21, 2-minute minor for holding.
So the 3rd straight penalty to the Winnipeg Jets. And yet, they've been the dominant team. I think this is the right call. Well, you know what, this Joe, to me, was just a battle in behind the net. The arm comes off. I think the Leafs better take advantage of this because I think it's a nifty call.
Toninato gets the penalty. The power play brought to you by your Ontario Subaru dealers. Get more value out of every kilometer in a Subaru, starting with award-winning safety at your local Subaru dealer. Leafs get the puck back to the blue line, and it bounces over the stick of the Leaf at the blue line, and Timmins couldn't keep it in. Now Robertson, second unit, starts on the power play for Toronto. Järnkrok to center. He's going to ring the boards with it to get it down into the zone. Comes into the slot area, knocked away. Robertson trying to keep it in. Knocked down. Was that a high stick? Apparently not. Good hit there by the Leafs. Nice to try and free up the puck in the corner. Domi slides into his man. And now we've got a scrum going on the far side. Domi trying to get up, and the Winnipeg player has to head to the bench without his stick. Leafs back in her own zone. Marner through center on the right side, backhanded in around back of the net to the far side. Nyes able to keep it in at the point where the Leafs, but it is intercepted again by Winnipeg and played down into the Toronto end. Marner on the left wing, it goes. Matthews in on the left wing. Tavares gets it back to the point to Riley. Near side, a shot by the Leafs, and that was blocked by Bresson, and it's cleared quickly by Winnipeg down the ice. The Jets in their last 5 games have given up just 1 goal in 13 times short, so add 2 more to that tonight. 25 seconds left to go in the penalty. Marner in across the line. Right wing side into the slot. No shot yet as it comes back into the corner. Back to the blue line for Nylander. Nylander looking in front of the net. Still with it. Can't find an avenue. And when he does, it's an easy glove save by Bresson, who was going to stop play with 7 seconds left, a power play. 3 minutes and 19 seconds left to go in the second period. Why don't we just go to the shootout and go home?
Wow. I'll tell you, I mean, if you ask the question, why did they start the second power play unit in this most recent Winnipeg penalty? The answer might be because we don't have a third one. Because there's been nothing other than the goaltender. There's not been a redeeming moment or stretch in this game from the Leafs. Trouble making a pass.
Liljegren gives the puck away. Brought out at center ice by Connor. He is matched up nicely there, one-on-one. And the Leafs will have the penalty expire without any benefit. Off the stick and down into Winnipeg territory. Hustling in there after it go the Leafs, trying to come away with it. Back of the net is David Kampf, but it is poked free, and now Winnipeg skates out at center. Pass up on the right side. Here's Nate Schmidt trying to drive, stops it up. Back to the point. Trying to hold off there now is Sandberg with a shot. That was blockered away nicely by Samsonov, and the Leafs get it out into the center ice area, but can't make a pass. Now back come the Jets. Sharp angle try by Nemesnikov. Went high and wide and off the glass. It's come all the way back into Winnipeg territory. 2:23 to go in the second period, which has been highlighted by a splendid bit of goaltending from Ilya Samsonov, who had to defend a 2-0 shorthanded rush and make 2 splendid saves before any assistance arrived. Domi on the left wing. Errant pass, no icing. Played around the boards now for Pionk. To the line, but not out. Leafs keeping it in. Fan on a pass, and it's brought right back now by Perfetti, who gets it on the wing, and it is shot by Toninato back into the Toronto zone. Minute 35 to go in the second period. Still no score. Tavares working free to find an open man. Benoit gives it back to him on the right wing. Now Tavares in on the right side, stops up, knocked down on the play, and it is stolen back by Kupari, and who plays it out at center ice. Leafs right in front of their own bench, unable to get much. And now here is Nate Schmidt playing it to the line. That's going to be offside. He kind of backed in with the puck. And the linesman, who's getting an earful from Rick Bowness and the coaches of the Jets, has blown the play dead, offside. 1:03 to go in the second period. There is no score. And you're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Breaking story from Alpine News Network.
Hey everybody, Mike from TSI. Join our awesome community today. You see all those awesome emojis in the chat? See everybody's names rolling down the bottom of the screen here? Get your name in that list. It's only 99 cents a month. 99 cents, you can't even get a coffee for 99 cents anymore, guys. Join today. Click the description of the video. You'll see the link to join in the description. Let's get back to the action. Go Leafs, go. Let's finish strong, boys.
One Pizza's new meatball menu, meatballs are the star of the show with dishes like meatball pizza with meatballs, green peppers, and red onions starting at just $11.99, or their classic meatball sandwich on 6-inch toasted garlic bread smothered in classic tomato sauce and mozzarella from just $9.99. Order online at 2for1pizza.com.
The Leafs nothing, and the Winnipeg Jets nothing. 1:03 to go in the second period. I think it's the dark the third jerseys. I really do.
Now you might want to change them in the dressing room between periods.
I would suggest that might be a great idea.
I mean, you are going to have games like this, but the Leafs can ill afford to when you look at where they are in the standings right now, holding on to a wild card spot.
Puck in the Toronto zone. Flipped ahead for Nyes. He doesn't get it out. Here are the Jets with a shot that's high over top of the goal to the far side. Nyes trying to just get it out of the zone. Plays it to the near side, and that was Liljegren having difficulties with it. Now it's brought back in by Marner. Almost stolen by the Jets. Played out in center finally, and back into Winnipeg territory. Now Matthews trying to get wide. Gets it into the slot area for Connor Timmins, and he couldn't pull the trigger on a backhand. Jets back the other way. Get it to the line. Good hit there by Benoit. Oh, he stood up Dylan DeMello right at the blue line. Brought back by the Leafs and sent in by Nylander. 2 seconds left in the period. And the most miraculous thing I'm about to say right now is...
the score.
No score.
Well, if it helps, and I think we got to bring it out now and let it fester through the intermission. The Toronto Maple Leafs have gone 190 games in the regular season without being shut out.
Yes, you're right.
Although I can't remember many of the 190 being like this one, where they have 3 power plays on the night and nothing for the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets are without their top point getter, their top defenseman, and their top goaltender did not start tonight, and yet are outplaying the Leafs and outshooting them 21-15. Shots-wise, the Leafs get a little closer, but scoring chance-wise, still not even close.
No, 11-6 they outshoot the Jets, and that would be great news if it wasn't for the fact that they gave up a 2-0 shorthanded attempt.
Yeah, 2-0 break against, which was baffling. And like we said, there's just one story from a Leaf standpoint that's positive right now, and he's responsible for one of the zeros on the scoreboard.
You're going to hear Jim Taddy and Dave Feschuk next with our second period intermission. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
4 teams remain on the road to Super Bowl 58.
Kansas City, for the 6th consecutive time, is going to the AFC Championship.
The Baltimore Ravens take on the Kansas City Chiefs for the AFC Championship, while the San Francisco 49ers face the Detroit Lions for NFC supremacy.
I envisioned that we would have a chance to compete with the big boys, and that's where we're at.
Hear coverage leading up to Championship Sunday and post-game reaction and interviews on NFL Radio Channel 88 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
And we're with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. Can you kind of talk about your relationship with your captain?
You know, whether I say it's a friendship or whatever we have, our bond is it's really come and really evolved over the years. He's one of the greatest, he's our greatest ambassador, but I think he's one of the greatest ambassadors for the sport. You know, the kid's a class act, and it's been really a pleasure to watch.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
You think, can you pay the guy? I think what we've learned the last 4 years is that you can. Tampa, Colorado, Vegas. They were all built on elite superstar talent. But what they also had was great management. And that's the one thing the Leafs haven't done. They've never done. Dubas never did it. I think we could all argue Treliving's not off to a great start trying to do it this year. It becomes a huge challenge.
Points with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app. NHL All-Star Weekend returns to Toronto, and Sirius XM NHL Network Radio brings you all the action.
Pass and a quick shot. Scores! Matthews! Lost for Crosby for the HP. He's good!
Hear conversations with all-star players and coaches. All-Star Media Day, player drive, skills competition, and play-by-play of the 2024 All-Star Game. 2024 NHL All-Star Weekend live. Beginning February 1st on NHL Network Radio, Channel 91 in the car, and on the all-new Sirius XM app. NHL Morning Skate.
Chris Knobloch, head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. No coaching experience in Paul Coffey. What's that been like as far as a rather unique fit as an assistant?
If you look at all the things that have improved with our team, and maybe even the most is how well our defense has been playing. Paul's done a great job of communicating with them and getting a message on just playing assertively.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. Under review.
The National Hockey League, it's the number one league in the world. It's a tough league. It's not shinny. I never wanted to become a league where the stars get an extra step or two. And there is a real divide with some people who go, the NHL doesn't do enough for its stars. No. What we like about hockey is it's a team game.
Under review with Mick Kern, 11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Hey Toronto, I'm David Morsuti, host of the daily Toronto Maple Leafs podcast, Locked On Leafs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network on the Sirius XM app. Every weekday, we bring you the latest Leafs news and analysis, break down all the action, including this game you're listening to right now, and preview the next one. We're giving you everything a Leafs fan could want, all in a daily 30-minute podcast. Download Locked On Leafs right now on the Sirius XM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or where you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Leafs.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey is on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
Well, still scoreless after 40 minutes of play. TSN After 40 is delivered by 241 Pizza. Enjoy 241 Pizza's new meatball pizza, classic meatball sandwich, or delicious oven-baked meatballs today. Call 241. I love saying that phone number. I get nothing for it, but nonetheless, I love saying the phone number.
You do it well.
Scoreless, and let's be honest here. You're on a power play, and you get a 2-on-0 against you, and there's so much room that it's like a practice drill, and Samsonov was nonplussed. No, there wasn't an extra body movement to be found anywhere.
So calm, so collected, so centered, and he stones them on both their shots. Just a tremendous moment for Ilya Samsonov.
Oh.
He got a little impromptu standing ovation from some of the people in the crowd. Definitely a great ovation because it was just
went on for at least a
stellar bit of goaltending from Ilya Samsonov. And really, you talk about the bright sides of this game. There's a few of them that I can think of, and they all start with S. There's Ilya Samsonov. There was Scotty Barnes' chain, that gleaming SB chain that he brought out as he was introduced on the blue carpet, and the score, the other S, which is 0-0 somehow, even though the Leafs have been roundly outplayed here.
Well, and let's not. I just want to pump the heck out of those Samsonov saves, because it was like a practice drill on a goalie that you don't like. He made two saves within seconds that absolutely stunned the building. Winnipeg had 6 shots in the period.
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, you're right. I mean, the Leafs did, in part because of the whistle, the Leafs get the 3 power plays. They were able to at least generate a little bit more than they generated in the first period, when of course they were grossly outshot. But so they brought the shot totals back. But you're right. Like, you got Adam Lowry and Morgan Barron on this 2-on-0, a freak kind of coincidence where the Leafs lose the puck on a power play. Jets clear it and get it up to a couple of guys breaking out. I mean, what are the odds of that goal going in the net? I'd say even on the best goalie on the planet, it's probably a 50-50 shot, maybe 90%.
Most goalies, I want to say to you, would have made an extra movement or something, and not panicking, but overcompensating.
Yeah.
He didn't do any of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not 2 sharpshooters coming down on you. Lowry and Barron both have 8 goals.
But there's nobody within 50 feet of those two guys.
You're right. And it was just, you're right. And that's been that was the most extreme example, the best example of the way Samsonov's been playing tonight, which is very quiet. If there was a criticism of his game before he was waived, and he's putting up those numbers that were among the worst in the NHL heading into December. It was the noisiness of his game. It was the sort of lack of economy in his game. It was the franticness. It was the swimming around the crease.
But that's when you don't know where the puck is.
Yes.
And you're guessing as to where you should be. I mean, right from the start, you could see him track the puck. I mean, he's I don't know how to describe. I mean, I think if you had the picture of how he played before and now, that's the ultimate contrast.
It really is.
I mean, those aren't the same people as far as I'm concerned.
it would be nice if the Leafs could get the guy a goal because he deserves a little run support tonight the way he's playing. And, of course, disappointing for the Leafs, Jim, that you get the 3 power plays in succession in that second period, and you come up with a grand total of 5 shots on goal in 3 power plays, and really none of them particularly, dangerous shots on Laurent Brossoit. So very disappointing. Sheldon Keefe showing his disgust with his first unit by not even putting him out there, not putting Matthews, Marner, or Nylander out on the second power play after the first one went kaput really meekly. But guess what? The second unit hasn't been much better.
Well, the good news is that it's scoreless. I mean, they're one shot away from having a 1-goal lead.
Exactly. That's really the only positive here. It's the Jets, they're vulnerable. They were playing without Scheifele. Now they're playing without their best defenseman in Josh Morrissey, who did not return in the second period.
Took a shot in the tender area.
Yeah, taking a nice shot in the tender area, as you point out. But look, so Josh Morrissey's not just their best defenseman. He's their 3rd leading point getter. So Scheifele's their leading point getter. Morrissey's their 3rd leading point getter. Velarde on a per 60 basis. He's missed some games, but he's another one of their top offensive producers. The Jets are going to have a tough time scoring here, as we've seen.
Yeah.
And Leafs have got to take advantage of that.
Oh, absolutely. But you've had 3 power plays, so I don't know how much advantage you're going to get in the 3rd period.
Yeah, the scales of justice are tipped a little bit in your favor. I think most referees that are of the human species probably will be inclined to call a penalty against the Maple Leafs before they call another one against the Jets.
There were some good hits in that period. Towards the end, Benoit stood up DeMello right against the boards. And wow, that was impressive.
Yeah,
that's a big hit. And
you got to match force with force. I mean, this Winnipeg team is just so physical, so relentless. They don't give you any space. You got to take the fight to them.
Yeah.
We did see a little bit more of that. We talked about gaining access to the zone and how difficult it is against this team because they stand you up at the blue line, make it very tough to skate the puck in. You sometimes have to dump it in, and even when you dump it in, they're back there. And but I thought the Leafs did a little bit better job. At least it wasn't what
much
it needs
of a threat.
to be. But it didn't produce threats. But I thought they at least were able. They were at least able to gain some possession in the offensive zone and not just on the power play.
We'll see where that goes. Scoreless after 40 minutes of play. Molson Canadian Leafs hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeart Radio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Breaking story from Alpine News Network. Sandra and Kabir are celebrating 50 years of marriage by turning their boring bedroom into a spicy one. Oh, my. Alpine Credit sent a super strength hero to help with a home renovation loan. New floors, windows, a heart-shaped button that plays this tune. Okay, I think that's quite enough. Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Just for license 12616.
Let's get jerseys. Let's get jerseys.
Right now, become a Tangerine client with a savings account, and you could get a free Raptors jersey.
We want jerseys.
Finally, a savings account worth cheering for.
Jerseys. Jerseys.
Find out how to score a jersey at tangerine.ca/Raptors. Tangerine. That's forward banking. Available to new clients who open and fund an eligible account while supplies last. Conditions apply.
There are many peculiar words in the English language. Words like salivigant, peregrinate, nemophilus, peripatetic, and conviviality. Yet, there is no word for getting the most out of winter in your Subaru, thanks to symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and X-Mode. Until now. We call it unhibernate. As in, while your neighbors stay home, you'll be unhibernating all winter in your Subaru. So peregrinate to your local Subaru dealer today, and welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
Welcome aboard this Air France radio message. Until February the 6th, enjoy fares at the very best prices during the Air France Rendezvous and benefit from our 90 years of experience of in-flight fine dining, design, and comfort. Our very best 90th anniversary fares have just landed. Book your flight to Paris starting at $855 return. From Toronto, tax included. Elegance is a journey. Air France. Travel from January 24th to June 22nd, or from September 18th to October 31st, 2024. See conditions at airfrance.ca.
Hi, Anthony Longo here. At Longo's, we're proud of what we offer our guests. That's why we sign every product we make with our family name. When you shop for staples like peanut butter and our all-new orange juice, you can save over 30% compared to other national brands. It's easy to save money without compromising quality when you switch to Longo's. I'm just glad we switched to printed labels. My wrist was getting very sore. For quality that meets your family standards, trust ours. Longo's.
Yep, it's getting colder out there. What you need is a sell-off vacation. I know what you're thinking, but did you know? You can book now and pay later.
What?
Like that family getaway to Tulum. Or maybe a beach vacation just for two. Romantic. Pack that suitcase and dive straight into paradise with selloffvacations.com. Monthly payment applicants are subject to approval by Uplift Canada. See website for details.
Well, the out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by Maple Toyota. Build your next dream Toyota at Maple Toyota and check out Maple Toyota's pre-owned inventory arriving daily. Guy, it's time to Toyota. Visit mapletoyota.com. Here's what we have elsewhere. It is the Panthers 5-0 over the Coyotes after 40 minutes of play. Still in the second, Canes 1-0 over the Bruins. And the rest start soon. 9:30, Washington and Colorado at 10. St. Louis and Vancouver at 10. Chicago and Seattle. And at 10:30, the Sabres visiting the LA Kings. And our game is scoreless. Do you believe it? Scoreless after 40 minutes of play. Sammy standing on his head. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey live from Scotiabank Arena on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Radio Monaco presents an exclusive in-depth interview with Michael Flatley.
For a quarter of a century, Lord of the Dance has been dazzling audiences.
Radio Monaco's Cassandra and Michael Flatley celebrate his legendary career.
It was so exciting because you're dancing on the edge every night.
SiriusXM's Radio Monaco, celebrating 25 years of Lord of the Dance with Michael Flatley. Just search Radio Monaco on the all-new SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
I'm with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning.
Can you kind of talk about your relationship with your captain?
You know, whether I say it's a friendship or whatever we have, our bond is it's really come and really evolved over the years. He's one of the greatest, he's our greatest ambassador, but I think he's one of the greatest ambassadors for the sport. You know, the kid's a class act, and it's been really a pleasure to watch.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
You think, can you pay the guy? I think what we've learned the last 4 years is that you can. Tampa, Colorado, Vegas. They were all built on elite superstar talent. But what they also had was great management. And that's the one thing the Leafs haven't done. They've never done. Dubas never did it. I think we could all argue Treliving's not off to a great start trying to do it this year. Becomes a huge challenge.
Point with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on SiriusXM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on SiriusXM FC 157 and streaming on the SiriusXM app.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
But for the grace of Samsonov, the Maple Leafs are in a 0-0 tie with the Winnipeg Jets. At the end of 40 minutes of play, Toronto's been outshot 21-15. But if there has been a real Toronto offensive scoring chance, you'd be hard-pressed to kind of disguise it.
I mean, probably Nick Robertson has had the best opportunities, and most of them from rather long range. But
in one shorthanded rush, he was outdone by the Winnipeg Jets, who had a 2-0 shorthanded rush, and Ilya Samsonov made two brilliant saves, one with the left pad, one with the right pad. And so we are scoreless heading to the third period, and the Leafs, who have been sleepwalking, get an opportunity to steal one, really.
Yeah, and the bottom line is, and this is why, Joe, the Boston Bruins, to me, have been so good for so long at doing this. The A game isn't there. but they find a way. Whether it means that, you know what, no more stretch passes, no pinching, we dump it in, we dump it out, and we hope we get a moment where one of our skilled players can decide the game. And right now, the Leafs are still trying to force the play that isn't working for them right now.
Puck is dropped. We're underway. Leafs to the right and the Jets to the left. The Leafs have had the only power plays in the game, 3 of them in that second period.
That's kind of scary.
Yes, it is. Here's a centering pass, and it went off the skate of Tavares and wide of the net, and the Jets have launched it high out and down the ice, and Liljegren has to hustle back and now tries to play it ahead just out of the reach of Tavares. Jets are going to chip it to the Leaf blue line, and Liljegren goes back to give it to his defense partner as the teams are changing. Timmins to Liljegren. Played off the boards and down into the Jet zone. Nyes along with Marner. Matthews has had 1 shot on goal and is cleared high to the Toronto blue line. Brought in over the line by Connor. Connor gets it back to the point. DeMello sends it around back of the net to the far side. Defenseman pinches and gets it back of the net. Good play to steal it back, though, there from Brody. And now Brody gets it on to Riley, who will get it ahead, and the Leafs have a 2-on-1. In over the line with Marner. Back for Matthews! And he failed to get a touch on it. And it is covered up by Broussard to stop play.
Boy, I really think Austin Matthews might have had a little bit of room just to take it to the net. Splitting the D. Or his hindsight being 2020. Instead, Mitch Marner, right-handed shot on the left wing side, tries to knife a backhand through a pair of skates. And maybe that's one of the better opportunities they had that almost got a fortunate bounce.
Leafs win the face-off. Point shot is blocked. And now trying to work out on the left wing is Iafallo, and across the line. Good play by Benoit to get back and break it up. Robertson wheeling back at center. Win over the line on the right wing side, and a shot. Good pad save made there by Broussard. And the Leafs have gotten a couple of decent scoring chances in the early going here. Shot right back down into Winnipeg territory. Jets bring it back in on the right side, and a shot is knocked away by Samsonov, and back at center ice comes Yarncrook. Yarncrook working to the left wing side. Goes wide. It's a shot taken there by Gregor. Went into the corner. Trying to play it back to the blue line. Leafs keep it in. It'll go around back of the net. Camp couldn't get to it. And an icing coming here against Winnipeg. And the Leafs, I know, it's only 2 minutes and 11 seconds, but seem to have a little more jump here in the third period, at least to start.
I think the proper way to put it is they haven't been nearly as bad as they were for the first 2 periods.
See, there I try to do something positive, and you bring up the reality of the situation.
Yeah. And I'm not a realist for the most part. No, like we said, it's been a struggle. But you got to find a way to win games where you don't have your A game.
Nylander off a face-off win, gets it back to the point. Riley to his defense partner on the far side. Brody sends it towards the net. That deflected wide. Riley goes around back of the goal. Comes out on the far wing. Back to the left point now for Brody. A centering pass doesn't work. Grabbed off by Tavares. Tavares kicks at it. Can't come up with it. Cleared to center ice by Winnipeg. Leafs play it right back in again. And the Jets now trying to move up ice too. Get it ahead on the right side. A long shot. And that went off the shoulder of Samsonov and into the screen and out of play as we are 9 seconds shy of the 3-minute mark of the third period. And this face-off is brought to you by Alpine Credits. If you own your own home and need a loan, Alpine Credits can help. Get approved at alpinecredits.ca. This crowd looking for something to get excited about. And so far, it's been the standing ovation that was awarded and warranted by Ilya Samsonov in the second period. And an icing call coming here against Toronto. Nyes was right at the red line, but he was on the wrong side of it when he just chipped it towards the Winnipeg zone, and it turns into an ice.
Good news is the NHL media site appears to be back up.
Oh, good, because I put all of my stuff away.
You want to know what the score is?
No. Draw won by the Leafs on the far wing. Pushed to the line and out at center. It'll bound to the Winnipeg blue line. They send it right back in for McCabe. And McCabe goes D to D with his defense, and then a horrible pass into the slot area made there by Liljegren. And the Leafs are going to get lucky again here. Liljegren will try it once more. Off the boards for Nyes. Nyes can't get it out. Backhanded again into the Toronto zone. Puck comes to the side of the goal. Brought out now on the left wing. Nyes gets it ahead. Flipped in then by Marner. Marner goes into the forecheck. Brisson back of the net. Lost it! Oh, and Marner trying to come out on the far side. Couldn't get an angle to backhand it into the empty net. A centering pass. Robertson couldn't make contact. Comes away with the loose puck. Sends it into the left wing corner. Yarncrook plays it a little deeper. And the Jets, Pionk, loses it. Here's Benoit. Round into the far corner. Robertson tried to come off the corner boards. Winnipeg's getting another penalty. Wow.
I mean, that's a bit of a high hit, but it was Kelly Yarncroc that absorbed it.
Winnipeg penalty number 5. 2 minutes for head contact.
All right, so head contact is going to be the official call. And if things do, in fact, even out.
Look out.
I mean, even this one, I mean, there's some contact with the head. I thought it might have been a little more shoulder to shoulder initially. And then the momentum kind of rode up and caught the head, but...
Sorry, Jim.
Oh, no, I meant go ahead with the read.
Yeah. Power play brought to you by your Ontario Subaru dealers. Get more value out of every kilometer in a Subaru, starting with award-winning safety at your local Subaru dealer. Leafs win the face-off. Nylander fumbles it, and it comes back out at center ice.
I mean, other than the goaltender, for the most part, you're going to hand it to them. Everybody's struggled. There's been nobody that's looked great.
Tavares in with a pass in. That was deflected just wide, and then it's punched up into the screen and out of play.
I mean, the shot's now 23-20. Power plays favor the Leafs 4-0. The scoreless tie here, 15-11 to go in the third. And you feel that Winnipeg's got to get at least 1 or 2 power plays in this period before it's over, so the Leafs better take advantage here.
Puck into the corner and shot down the ice by the Jets.
So Winnipeg was 23rd overall in the penalty kill coming in, and the Leafs have not challenged that.
Riley getting it dropped back now to Matthews. He hits the line, left wing side. Tavares back in for Matthews. He overskated it. It goes into the far corner. Nylander pinches down to get it to Marner. Marner swinging it around the boards. It'll come to the left wing side to Matthews. Cross ice Nylander shooting, and that was off the bouncing puck in front of the goal, and it's knocked into the far corner. Played into the near side now for Matthews. Matthews working back to the point. Drips it there for Marner. Marner works to the right wing side. Got a shot away, and it was blocked and shot down the ice by Winnipeg. Finally, the number 1 unit gets a bit of a chance. Second unit over the boards. Domi to the line. Just gets into the slot area. Dishes it off, and the wing is shot. Owen Yarncrook at the door on the back door. Couldn't make contact. Liljegren to the far side. Fanning on it completely was Robertson. Into the corner and shot out and down the ice by Winnipeg. Referee tumbles in the neutral zone. 4 seconds left in the power play. Domi to the line and in. Off on the wing and a shot! And I don't think Rousseau saw that till it hit him. Kept in at the blue line by Robertson. Far side for Domi. Around on the boards, pinching down. Here's McCabe. Played around back of the net. The Jets back at even strength. And it's going to be played out into the center ice area to the line and into the Toronto zone. Jets getting a change of players going. Leafs play it up on the wing. And it is brought out at center ice by Toronto. Laid in now for McMahon. Here's McMahon trying to get around back of the net, was knocked down. Bobby McMahon with the puck underneath a fallen Jets player. Couldn't come up with it. It bounces off his stick, far side. Noah Gregor hustles after it. And it's going to be pushed ahead and out into the center ice area. Leafs trying to shoot it right back in again. Shots are even at 23 apiece. And the Leafs have had a better start to this period, no question, as we have played 7.5 minutes. Errant pass is going to roll all the way down on goaltender Samsonov, who is going to have to stop play and bring a face-off in the Toronto end. This is just the strangest game I think we've had in a while, hasn't it?
I mean, we've had a few scoreless games that have gone to shootouts before. Remember Jason Spezza with the Ottawa Senators going in a shootout. Craig Anderson's first game as a Senator. Remember 1-0 shootout game against the Philadelphia Flyers. I believe the last 0-0 final was in San Jose. You and I did years ago.
Shot goes wide of the, and that was a beauty too, wasn't it? Brought on now by the Leafs, and a good hit there. Takes down Noah Gregor as Pionk stepped into him right at the Toronto, or at the Winnipeg blue line. Here's Ehlers across the line. Stumbling on the far side was Kyle Connor. Puck in the Toronto zone. Connor gets it into the slot, but it's intercepted by the Leafs and punched ahead at center. Grabbed off by Nylander. In on the right side for Tavares. Got around one man. Goes in along the end boards and gets it freed up for Nylander. Centering pass. And coming down the slot was McCabe. But now a 2-on-1 for Winnipeg. Kupari in. Shooting. Down is Samsonov. Sammy, you're having yourself a night as he holds on.
Ill-advised pinch by Jake McCabe in a scoreless game in the third period. But Ilya Samsonov bails the Leafs out again, and another odd man rush back the other way.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Let's go, football fans.
This week on Let's Go with Tom Brady and Larry Fitzgerald and me, Jim Gray. How do you beat Patrick Mahomes?
He's an incredible competitor, and I think it's on display in the biggest moments. So, got so many of the intangibles. So, beyond his ability to throw the ball, he's a fierce competitor. They got a great team. They got really well coached. It's been a great organization.
Listen now to the extended version of Let's Go, exclusively on the SiriusXM app, included with all our trials and popular plans.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
And we're with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning.
Can you kind of talk about your relationship with your captain?
You know, whether I say it's a friendship or whatever we have, our bond is it's really come and really evolved over the years. He's one of the greatest, well, he's our greatest ambassador, but I think he's one of the greatest ambassadors for the sport. You know, the kid's a class act, and it's been really a pleasure to watch.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91 and the SiriusXM app. The Point with
Hey everybody, Mike from Toronto Sports Insider. Thank you all for getting us over the 7,000 subscriber mark. Let's keep it going. Let's have some fun tonight in the chat. Smash that like button down below. And hey, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Turn that notification bell on so you can hang out with us every single Leafs game or Toronto sports event. Thank you all for hanging out with us. We'll see you guys soon. Let's get back to the hockey. Go Leafs, go!
NHL Play-by-Play on SiriusXM.
The Leafs nothing and the Winnipeg Jets nothing. Face off in the Toronto zone to the left of Ilya Samsonov. And the draw won by Toronto. Up on the wing it comes, and the Leafs start out of their own zone with Marner. He's going to shoot it in and around the boards to the left wing side. Matthews catches up to it, ran into a body, and the Jets are able to come away with it. Kupari gets it out at center. Now he's circling back into his own zone, and Pionk will take his pass as the Jets are trying to organize and slowly bringing it out of their own zone. Pionk up on the right wing side, just chipped into the Toronto zone. Timmins reverses the puck on the left wing, got it ahead off the skate of Marner, but grabbed off there by the Jets and played out at center ice, but turned over again. Leafs will try the left wing side this time. Benoit backhanded it in, but the Jets have control. DeMello got it up on the right side. In with a shot, well wide of the goal from Niederreiter. Back into the slot area. It comes back to the point to DeMello. Shot blocked. DeMello gets it again. DeMello holds to his defense partner, and a shot goes off a Toronto stick and has cleared. And now we got some shoving and a couple of glove punches thrown by Adam Lowry in front of the net. And
now the
Max Domi is there.
And Joe, the Leafs have got to be careful. Everybody knows you've had all 4 power plays in a game. You don't taunt the officials with an opportunity to get one back on the other side of the board. I'm not saying you back down, but we've often seen how you get those scrums after a whistle, and they pick one guy out of the pile, and this would be a pretty easy time to do it, wouldn't it?
Face off to the right in the Toronto zone. Domi goes to the bench.
In fairness, I mean, they give up the odd man rush here in the period, but since that shorthanded 2-on-0, the Leafs haven't given up a whole lot. A lot from the outside.
Puck bounces into the far corner. Niederreiter goes in there after it. The puck comes back into the slot area, and a shot by Niederreiter! And another great glove save from Samsonov!
Samsonov is dialed in. And what you like about this, Joe, is where he is. Top of the crease. See, when a goalie struggles sometimes, you get back more towards the goal line because you think it'll give you extra time to react. But here, Samsonov, the puck's at the top of the left wing circle, and he is out and challenging.
Played out at center ice. Leafs can't come up with it. And grabbed off by Robertson, who drops it back. Liljegren carries to center. In on the right wing. Ran into a couple of Jets, and then one of them ends up knocking his own man down and has bounced out at center ice. McCabe back for Nylander. In on the right side. Closing! And a shot was blocked, and a bouncing rebound in front. No one could get a stick on. Back come the Jets in on the right wing. Dropping it back is Ehlers. Into the slot area trying to move is Pionk. His shot is blocked. The rebound to the side of the net. Nylander, or at least Liljegren, getting it freed up. And now Robertson tried to get it through center ice, but it was intercepted. Brought back in by the Jets. Right wing side, a shot. Off the stick of Perfetti, went wide. Point shot deflects wide of the Leaf goal. Slow to react to it on the near side, though, is Noah Gregor. Back to the point, kept alive. Perfetti, another shot, and on the angle this time, it is swallowed up by Samsonov, and he will hold for a face-off as we go to commercial break. The Leafs nothing and the Jets nothing. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Unhibernate. Verb. To laugh in the face of snow because you drive a Subaru. As in, when I unhibernate, I have the roads all to myself because my Subaru has symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and others don't. Or, the award-winning safety in my Subaru means I can unhibernate all winter while my neighbors stare longingly from their bedroom windows. Or my favorite usage, I am going to unhibernate this winter by visiting my local Subaru dealer today. Welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
Alpine News Network is here live with one of our superheroes.
I just helped Tom with a business loan. He needed to soup up his mechanic shop. Not to brag, but I once modified a car to match my ultra speed. It went so fast, it broke the speed of sound. At least no one was inside. I hope no one was inside. I guess I'll just stick to approving business loans.
Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved.
Just for license 12616.
8 minutes and 58 seconds left in the third period, and this game is still looking for its first goal.
Well, the Leafs have outshot Winnipeg 21-11 since the first period. I mean, Samsonov was under siege almost all of the first period, and it was a couple of moments and on-man rushes in the second period he came up large.
And a big glove save made moments ago here in the third period. The Leafs win the face-off. Played off the boards, and it's going to go the length of the ice.
We're seeing what do we got for a combination on defense here? Morgan Riley and nope.
Benoit and
McCabe.
McCabe, I believe. Yep. And it's the Leafs' fourth line that is out there, and so David Camp will take the face-off against Toninato. And the draw scrummed. The Leafs come away with the loose puck and then almost give it away, but now Benoit able to skate it out at center and get it to the line, if not in deep. And then as it bogs down, it turns into an offside.
By the way, it's Benoit and Timmins. I thought it was McCabe. These are terrible jerseys.
They are. It's, you know what it reminds me of? We did the All-Star game in Columbus when they had white on white with black little lines around, and the fact that there were four guys wearing 91 had no bearing on it whatsoever.
Yeah, I felt for you that night.
Yeah.
In Columbus.
Yes. And that cannon went off for every goal. You thought you were in the Civil War. Never mind having the cannon there. Puck down in the Toronto zone. Pushed into the far corner. Now ripped around the wall. It'll come to Pionk on the right wing. He sends it around to his defense partner, Brendan Dillon, into the slot area for Lowry. Trying to get it back of the net. Now coming around on a wraparound attempt is thwarted. It comes back to the point. Pionk sends it right back from whence it came. These two teams will meet each other again in Winnipeg on Saturday night. As it's up against the boards and pinned there. Crowd trying to get a little energy going here. The puck along the boards is backhanded high, out and down into Winnipeg territory, but it's going to be right on goal. And it's quickly scooped aside by Brassard. That was a little dangerous.
Yeah, well, Nylander was on his way to the front of the net looking for a gift.
Almost had it. Pionk, left wing side. Played around the boards to the near wing. Perfetti gave the puck away to Matthews. Liljegren sends it out at center to Marner. Marner missed a hit there, and Matthews has to come back to restore the puck. And now it is a rink-wide feed. Matthews trying to settle it down. Linesman got in the way. Jets have to wait for teammates to get on side now as the long shoot-in. Gloved there by Samsonov, who...
A little swagger now, doesn't he?
Yeah, that was... looked like a baseball player snatching that off the fence a little bit with some vigor. Jets get it down into the Toronto zone again. Punched around by Connor. It comes back to the blue line. Right wing side, a shot in traffic goes off a stick and up into the screen. That was deflected just a few feet in front of Ilya Samsonov. And when things are going bad, that usually ends up in the net. But things have been going pretty good here for the Leaf netminder, who has been good, great, and spectacular all in one game.
And yet, for Samsonov, who many times his team has bailed him out to get points, now it's the other way around. He needs something back for the job that he's done. I mean, he is the reason that the Leafs weren't down 3 at the end of the first period.
Shot in now by Benoit into the Winnipeg end. Played into the corner, bounced away from Domi. He forces the issue back, a Winnipeg native, and it's played out into the center ice area. Stolen there by Yarncrook, and then he gives the puck away. Boy, if I'm counting giveaways here tonight, I'm running out of pencil. Puck down in the Toronto end, back of the goal. Round back of the net into the near corner. Good cover there by Benoit, who ends up being tackled. The puck is somewhere underneath him, and the referee has decided, in the interest of saving a life, to whistle it dead.
And Benoit gets up and says, I'm fine.
I'm fine. I'm going to be okay. 0-0. 5:44 to go, third period. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Before the Grammys, hear John Bon Jovi honored as 2024 Music Cares Person of the Year.
I'm truly humbled and excited to be this year's Music Cares honoree. Their work creating much-needed support and wellness programs for music professionals is vitally important.
We'll bring you backstage interviews and red carpet coverage from the Music Cares Gala in Los Angeles. Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific. Bon Jovi Radio, channel 312 on most car radios and on the all-new SiriusXM app. Get closer to everything that moves you, wherever you are.
NHL All-Star Weekend returns to Toronto, and SiriusXM NHL Network Radio brings you all the action.
Pass and a quick shot. Scores! Matthews! Lost for Crosby for the HP. He's good!
Hear conversations with all-star players and coaches. All-Star Media Day, player draft, skills competition, and play-by-play of the 2024 All-Star Game. 2024 NHL All-Star Weekend live. Beginning February 1st on NHL Network Radio, Channel 91 in the car, and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
Chris Knobloch, head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. No coaching experience in Paul Coffey. What's that been like as far as a rather unique fit as an assistant?
If you look at all the things that have improved with our team, and maybe even the most is how well our defense has been playing. Paul's done a great job of communicating with them and getting a message on just playing assertively.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The best hockey lives here.
Martins gets it back. Stick handles to the backhand. Moves in front. Score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
5 minutes and 44 seconds left to play in the third period, and this game has not had a goal scored in it. 190 games the Leafs have gone without being shut out. As it's launched high to center ice. Missing that was DeMello. The puck goes down into the Winnipeg end, though. Sandberg gets it ahead, and now here are the Jets in over the line on the right wing side. A drop pass and a shot went off a leg and went wide. Rebound up on the near boards, and out comes Tavares. The captain comes to center with Nylander. Tried to find Willie, and it was off a skate. Now Morgan Riley has to wait for teammates to get on side before peppering it in there. Nylander on the boards, back of the goal. It goes for Yarncrook. Yarncrook leaving it into the corner for Tavares. Back of the net for Nylander, coming out. Nylander falls, and a penalty coming here to Winnipeg for tripping.
And Joe, I just first glanced to the Winnipeg bench, and Rick Bowness throwing his arms up in the air.
Winnipeg penalty number 2. 2 minutes for tripping.
And unfortunately, we get the benefit of video replay to see if it was in fact a trip. But Rick Bowness still ain't buying it. Nylander swung out from behind the net. Wow, I mean, I think this is a weak call. I mean, I think the stick makes contact about maybe 6 inches above the ankle. To me, it was as much a stumble as anything else.
Well, it's the 5th power play of the game for Toronto. Tavares to take the draw. Draw scrummed, but the Jets control it, and they send a bouncing shot down on Samsonov, and that took a funny hop right at the end. He had to make a good pad save.
Boy, and you wouldn't be surprised if this game ended on a play something like that.
Something silly, yep. Here the Leafs in across the line. Nylander on the right wing, gets it back to Riley. Back to Willie, into the corner. He comes out with it, still with it now on the far side. Back of the net for Marner. Marner to the near point. Nylander back in for Marner. Marner holds back to Nylander. Top of the circles now to Riley in the slot to Matthews, who doesn't shoot it. Now when he does, he sent it wide. Grabbed off and backhanded to the line and poked out at center ice by Iafallo.
Leafs have to go back to that, get that double screen in front.
Leafs in over the line with Marner. Off on the wing on the far side. Upended there was Matthews, but no call. Back to the point it goes. Nylander, a pass off a wing. It comes to the near side. Backhanded in again then by Timmins. He gets it back again. Far side, pass to the near side. A shot taken by Tavares is stopped. Centering pass in the goal crease. Can't get a backhand away. And here comes the penalty to the Leafs.
And you got to take it.
Nylander is going to get a boarding call, I think.
Yeah, probably a marginal call, but Leafs have had too many go their way. So it's going to be a boarding penalty. And really, to me, what happened on that, Joe, and it was Sandberg was a Winnipeg defenseman. Simply, when he got at the boards, he pulled up, and Nylander was still in motion, makes contact from behind. Most times you might call that a weak call, but when the Leafs take 5 straight power plays, you take your medicine.
You know it's coming. Yep. 3 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. They'll play 4-on-4 for 38 seconds. And then the Jets will go to their first power play of the game. And the Leafs win the face-off and now start out with it. They're going to drop it back. Domi up on the right wing to the line and in for Liljegren. He walks the line, got it off to Riley on the left wing side. Played around the boards to the far wing. Nate Schmidt is able to secure it there for Winnipeg, and now Mason Appleton will get things organized, and the Leafs have a dozen seconds left before they're a man short. Brought to center ice quickly by the Jets, in across the line, and it's broken up there and backhanded ahead by McCabe, who didn't get it out initially, but now the Leafs have it under control, and a pass looking to spring Camp, but it was just a little bit out of his reach. Brought back by Winnipeg. On to the left wing side, and they gain the zone. Working back to the blue line, it comes to the near side for Pionk. And offside, says the linesman. Wow, that was a close play.
Yeah, 1 minute exactly left from the power play for the Jets. 2:40 to go in the third period of a 0-0 game. And the shots are dead even, 28 apiece. That old line from the Jerry Cheevers book. The scoreboard doesn't lie, but it can stretch the truth a little bit.
It sure can. Played down into the Winnipeg end. What would you suggest the scoring chances are? 12 to maybe 3, something like that. Another offside coming here. And the Leafs are able to come away with it. Now they're going to play catch with it back in their own zone and then rifle it out and down the ice.
Yeah, probably 3 from a Leaf standpoint. And then you'd have to sit and think about what the 3 were.
Brought out at center now by Winnipeg. To the line and in for Ehlers. Played into the corner. Ehlers gets it around on the near side. Mishandling it there was Kyle Connor, but it's up against the end boards. Leafs trying to dig it free. Side of the goal and cleared this time by the Maple Leafs' Timothy Liljegren. 5 seconds left in the power play. And so you kind of thought, oh no, they're going to get one and then look out. Well, a minute 37 and the Leafs are back at full strength and the puck is in the center ice area. DeMello dropping it back. A pass to the line, broken up at the Leaf defense. Turning with it is Brody. Brody's rings the boards with it to get it ahead. It comes out at center for Tavares. Got it across the line. Bowls his way in there, but can't get it deep. And then it's back out at center ice, and the Jets will work it over on the left wing and shoot it in. Around the boards it comes to the near side. Down into the Leaf zone and in the right wing corner. Mike Ross about to inform everyone. Thank you, Mike. Played off the boards and out at center ice. Jets go back into their own zone. Schmidt playing it around on the near side. DeMello with a pass up off a wing. Good back checking done there and a penalty coming to Toronto. Yarncrook came back and did a great job of tying up his man, but now with overtime looming, 35.1 seconds, and a tripping call coming here to Toronto. Second power play in a row to Winnipeg.
This, to me, from an officiating standpoint, is very similar to what we saw in Vancouver. Not a lot called in the first two periods, and then in a tie game, everything gets called. Remember, the Leafs took 3 minors in the first 9 minutes of the third period in Vancouver, scored a shorthanded goal, but gave up 2 power play goals.
Appleton is the player that got hooked to the ice. Leafs win the draw and ring it around the boards, and down the ice it'll go. 27 seconds left in regulation time. Pionk starting ahead at center. Got it to the line, broken up there. They'll have to go back. Pionk, 16 seconds left now. And the long shoot-in goes off the glass and into the Toronto zone. Back of the net and into the corner it goes. Brody trying to pin it there, and time is going to run out as Brody has it up against the boards. Ilya Samsonov has gotten the Maple Leafs a point. Can they get an additional point in overtime or shootout? We'll wait and see. We'll come back with it. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome aboard this Air France radio message. Until February the 6th, enjoy fares at the very best prices during the Air France Rendezvous and benefit from our 90 years of experience of in-flight fine dining, design and comfort. Our very best 90th anniversary fares have just landed. Book your flight to Paris starting at $855 return. From Toronto, tax included. Elegance is a journey. Air France. Travel from January 24th to June 22nd or from September 18th to October 31st, 2024. See conditions at airfrance.ca.
Step onto treadmill. Start playlist. Skip song. Skip song. Skip song. Hear your jam, come on. Turn up speed. Run to the beat and feel like you're the lead in a music video. It's a treadmill workout. Join for $7.99 every 2 weeks at fitforless.ca and experience fitness simplified. Some conditions apply. Fit for less. Everybody happy.
We go to overtime in a nothing tie.
Well, we mentioned the Leafs have a streak on the line, and that is 190 games in the regular season since being shut out. The last time it happened was here at home against the Pittsburgh Penguins in 2020.
Hey everybody, Mike from Toronto Sports Insider. Thank you all for getting us over the 7,000 subscriber mark. Let's keep it going. Let's have some fun tonight in the chat. Smash that like button down below. And hey, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Turn that notification bell on so you can hang out with us every single Leafs game or Toronto sports event. Thank you all for hanging out with us. We'll see you guys soon. Let's get back to the hockey. Go Leafs, go!
Pulled out the game.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
good. Okay, fine. Leafs.
Any other irrelevant information?
No,
but no, that'd be a shutout.
Yeah. Leafs to the left and the Jets to the right. It's 4-on-3 to start this overtime. And the Jets get it up on the left wing and bring it in. Ehlers shoots it into the corner. Connor bodied, but it comes back to Pionk at the point. over on the left wing side for Ehlers. He'll work back towards the slot area, gets it into the slot, looks for a pass and a shot, glove save. Ilya Samsonov snapped that out of the air with a lot of confidence.
There's so many saves that he has made in this game, even in the last 2 games, Joe, that you say, okay, go back, and here's 7 other games, make that one save, and it could have been a turning point in it.
59 seconds in the power play, and the Jets win the draw. Pionk to the left wing side for Ehlers. He's going to exchange spots. Over on the right wing, he gets it back again now. Ehlers to the right wing side, a pass in front. Oh my! Lowry, if he makes any contact with that, it's in the net. Ehlers back at the point. To Pionk on the far side. They exchange spots. Here's Connor with a shot into the chest area of Samsonov, and he has covered up and held on.
Boy, Kyle Connor is an absolute sniper for the Winnipeg Jets. And when you look at the great streak they had, Kyle Connor missed a significant amount of time. 29 games played coming into this one. This is only his 4th game back since the injury. He's got 1 goal in that stretch, and I believe Rick Bowness is calling a timeout.
How long have you known Rick Bowness?
I actually played against him when he was in Sherbrooke in the American League, which was the affiliate of the Winnipeg Jets at the time. He actually finished being a player coach last year.
I'm since 1980, Halifax, yeah. I knew his younger brother a little bit better. Actually, he'd be younger. Played slow pitch with the bonuses and whatnot. Yeah. I mean, go back a long way, and he has paid his dues with good teams and bad teams.
That's the very first coach in the history of the Ottawa Senators. Took some lumps. Actually, this is his 2nd stint in Winnipeg. His first head coaching job in the NHL was with the Jets during some rather trying years.
Face off to the right in the Toronto zone. 33 seconds left to go in the power play. And the draw scrummed by David Camp. Kicked but not controlled by the Leafs against the boards. Ehlers trying to center, goes off a stick. Back of the net, a big hit there made by McCabe, but the Leafs can't clear. It's in the corner, and it comes back to the blue line. Kept alive by Pionk. Pionk to the left wing side for Ehlers. Ehlers looking for Connor, still with it, takes a shot. That hit a skate and went wide. Here's Pionk with it again. 5 seconds left in the penalty. Far side for Connor. Works back to the near side for Ehlers. Trying to step in, he does! And another brilliant save made by Samsonov. Off the shoulder. Penalty is over. Leafs trying to get it out and down the ice without icing, and they do. And now they're 4-on-4 here for a few more seconds until there's a stoppage of play. And this crowd is on its feet, a lot of them here, saluting the play of Ilya Samsonov. Left wing side, Namestnikov loses the puck. Marner trying to play it ahead. Liljegren will take it around back of the goal, then starts back up ice. Liljegren dropping it back. Marner's the trailer, comes out of his own zone, works to the line and in. Marner dishes off on the left wing. Shot went high and wide of the Winnipeg goal. Puck on the near boards, trying to pin it there. Don't know who wants to be 3-on-3 more, Winnipeg or Toronto. And they're just letting them bang away at it here. Leafs keep it in. Marner works it back out at center ice. Still with it. Marner circling back. Gives it off on the far wing, and the puck is stolen. Here are the Jets in. Working in with it is Appleton. Appleton into the slot near side. It comes. Sandberg trying to get it in front, and a rising shot went high and wide from Appleton. Leafs are in need of a change. Brought out now, and now Nylander will go back in his own zone. Change complete. Here comes Willie. Nylander circling back. Minute 50 to go in the overtime. No score. The hockey gods are smiling. They'll look down on Ilya Samsonov and say, "You've paid enough of this. We owe you one." And a shot there is swallowed up by Brisson, and he'll hold. Back to 3-on-3 for the final minute 32 of overtime.
I was going to ask, as we're sitting here watching the clock tick down, how many times there's been a 5-minute full overtime that wasn't 3-on-3 for a second? And that's really, we started with a power play for the Jets.
Yep.
So then it comes back to 4-on-4, and we were a minute 32 from getting out of overtime. 4-on-4.
So here we go, 3-on-3. And the draw scrummed, but controlled by Pionk. Around back of the net. He eludes the forecheck of Robertson, who's out there. Robertson and Matthews, along with Riley. Pionk going back into his own zone. Robertson, half-hearted attack here to try and force things. And now stumbling was Matthews. Then Robertson steals the puck. Matthews is in on goal! Oh, and he fed it back to Robertson, and it was knocked away. It comes back to the blue line. Matthews for Robertson on the far boards. Now Robertson gets a loose puck as one of the Jets fell down. Robertson with a couple of elusive moves. Gets it into the corner. Centering back. They score! They score! Austin Matthews wins the game!
Morgan Riley spins in the corner to the right of the Winnipeg goaltender. Looks out front and throws it to the blue paint. Austin Matthews has another game winner. And the Leafs, based on the performance of one guy who brought his A game tonight, have won the first of back-to-back games with Winnipeg, 1-0. But this is all Ilya Samsonov. 1 goal against in his last 2 games, and anything more than that, he doesn't win either one.
We're not picking the stars.
We don't have to.
I'll give Matthews the 3rd star, but Samsonov star 1 and 2.
Yeah, well, the Winnipeg goaltender, you've got to give him some credit when you don't give up a goal in regulation. And Laurent Brossoit, I thought was solid as well. He didn't give up the bad one that you see in games that are going to turn things around or deflate a team. But this is one of the games. If we look at Samsonov as a positive, you know what the other positive is? You beat a team like Winnipeg, even though they were missing some top players. You didn't play great, and you still won against a good team. That's a lot better than playing great against Columbus and losing 6-5 in overtime.
So the Maple Leafs win it on an overtime goal by Austin Matthews after an absolute splendid performance in goal by Ilya Samsonov. And the Leafs win it 1-0. We're back with you on Saturday, same 2 teams. We hope that you will join us then. Stepping aside for Jim Taddy and Dave Feschuk and the Postgame Show. You've been listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
4 teams remain on the road to Super Bowl 58.
Kansas City, for the 6th consecutive time, is going to the AFC Championship.
The Baltimore Ravens take on the Kansas City Chiefs for the AFC Championship, while the San Francisco 49ers face the Detroit Lions for NFC supremacy.
I envisioned that we would have a chance to compete with the big boys, and that's where we're at.
Hear coverage leading up to Championship Sunday and post-game reaction and interviews on NFL Radio Channel 88 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
And we're with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. Can you kind of talk about your relationship with your captain?
Whether I say it's a friendship or whatever we have, our bond is it's really come and really evolved over the years. He's one of the greatest, he's our greatest ambassador, but I think he's one of the greatest ambassadors for the sport. The kid's a class act, and it's been really a pleasure to watch.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app. The Points with Boomer Gordon.
You think, can you pay the guy? I think what we've learned the last 4 years is that you can. Tampa, Colorado, Vegas. They were all built on elite superstar talent. But what they also had was great management. And that's the one thing the Leafs haven't done. They've never done. Dubas never did it. I think we could all argue Treliving's not off to a great start trying to do it this year. becomes a huge challenge.
Points with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
NHL All-Star Weekend returns to Toronto, and Sirius XM NHL Network Radio brings you all the action.
Pass and a quick shot. Scores! Matthews! Lost for Crosby for the HP. He's good!
Hear conversations with all-star players and coaches. All-Star Media Day, player draft, skills competition, and play-by-play of the 2024 All-Star Game. 2024 NHL All-Star Weekend live. Beginning February 1st on NHL Network Radio, Channel 91 in the car, and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
Chris Knobloch, head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. No coaching experience in Paul Coffey. What's that been like as far as a rather unique fit as an assistant?
If you look at all the things that have improved with our team, and maybe even the most is how well our defense has been playing. Paul's done a great job of communicating with him and getting a message on just playing assertively.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing.
Hey everybody, Mike from Toronto Sports Insider. Thank you all for getting us over the 7,000 subscriber mark. Let's keep it going. Let's have some fun tonight in the chat. Smash that like button down below. And hey, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Turn that notification bell on so you can hang out with us every single Leafs game or Toronto sports event. Thank you all for hanging out with us. We'll see you guys soon. Let's get back to the hockey. Go Leafs, go!
XM 91.
This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
Robertson gets a loose puck as one of the Jets fell down. Robertson with a couple of elusive moves. Gets it into the corner. Centering back. They score! They score! Austin Matthews wins the game! And that was the only goal in the hockey game. The Leafs win in overtime over the visiting Winnipeg Jets by a score of 1-0. Welcome to Leafs Game Night, the post-game show, live from Scotiabank Arena. Jim Taddy, Dave Feschuk from the Toronto Star, and Jimmy Ralph kind enough to hang around. Ralphie, that was, first of all, I mean,
never in doubt. You're exactly right.
The obvious headline is Samsonov. I mean, that guy was focused, man, and there was no panic.
Nope, and back-to-back games as well. I mean, I think, you feel for a guy that has lost it. And we've seen it with goaltenders, especially probably in the last 5 or 6 years. It's a more common occurrence where goaltenders just seem to lose it. And if you don't know what it's like, and I do, and I'm not being smart, you go through times when you just feel you've never played the position before. You don't know how you focus before, and you start to question everything. And then you think, okay, this is a new start. Then you start to doubt your teammates if there are certain goals that go in or certain things that don't get done. So for Ilya Samsonov, I mean, this really could turn out to be the story of the year for the Toronto Maple Leafs. If he is able to rebound with a week or two off. I mean, in fairness, when I got sent to the minors, they didn't say, just regroup until you feel better. Well, we'll bring you back.
Nice knowing you.
They just said, you better get a place there. but anyway, I've got such respect because everybody's going to face moments in their career where you start to doubt yourself. And for Ilya Samsonov, it's only 2 games, but without his performance in the 2 games, they get nothing. Not 4 points. I mean, they get 0 out of it.
But those back-to-back saves on the shorthanded for Winnipeg, the Leafs power play. I mean, that calls for a goalie to overreact. He was so calm.
Yeah, and there were other glove saves that he had made, and we were saying near the end of the broadcast, if you take some of these saves and just drop them in to the 3 months past. and I remember the one, the overtime goal against Columbus, coming off the right wing corner. Trying to think of the kid's name.
Yeah.
In Columbus, not
Fantilli.
No. Anyway, I'll think of it. I think Ontario kid too. Anyway, you saw, how many times did you see tonight where Samsonov throwing the glove up?
Oh, with authority.
Or off the shoulder, and you're going, that's what you needed in that moment when you came back from a 5-0 deficit.
Right.
All these little moments, and it took a while for the Leafs to, to pay him back. But like we said, the first period, they were out of sorts. They weren't sharp all night. Second period, they were horrible, especially 2 or 3 times, which led to scoring opportunities. Third period, thanks to the power plays for the most part, they didn't give much in the way of chances for Winnipeg until the end. But for a Leaf team, they're fortunate. Winnipeg is without Scheifele. Morrissey left during the game. Connor Hellebuck, I don't know why he wasn't on the bench.
Yeah.
But Hellebuck wasn't on the bench the entire night. And you say it took to overtime to win it 1-0. But having said that, I think you'd rather not play great and beat Winnipeg 1-0 than play great and lose 6-5 to Columbus.
Well, we've heard from Leaf fans these past handful of years, and I hear it all the time, like, we need a goaltender that'll steal us some games. Yeah. Where's the guy who will steal us a game now and then? And here it was. This was highway robbery. This was Ilya Samsonov saying, we don't deserve to win, but I deserve to win. I deserve these 2 points. And that was what you saw.
And I think, too, David, you would have to go back, or if you went back through the season and you said, okay, how many games do you circle that the Leafs won that you say goaltending was the prime reason? And the 3 that I could think of were back-to-back games, Joseph Woll in Washington and Dallas,
right,
where he had stretches where he was brilliant. I think he gave up 2 or 3 goals in the 2 games.
Yeah.
And then the game that he got hurt in Ottawa,
he was great.
He made 4 or 5 saves on cross-crease passes where he had to go post to post, and then eventually gets hurt on a fluke. But I would say those 3, and now the back-to-back games by Ilya Samsonov. I mean, those are the games. So, whether you're looking for a goaltender to steal games, I think so many times during this stretch for Ilya Samsonov, the pressure was don't screw it up. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's even harder, where you're saying don't be the reason we lose. We don't need you to win it for us. We don't need you to stop 2-on-0s from the other end all night. But don't screw it up. And when you're struggling, that's how you see it. That my job is not to screw it up. Rather than when you've got some swagger, you say, I don't care. I'm gonna make the saves. We're gonna get the win. We're gonna get the great moments at the other end.
So go back to his first game back against Detroit. I think you saw that, where on certain plays he'd have his head down, he'd be talking to himself, sorting himself out. I mean, this is quite a contrast, and that's only a week and a half ago.
Yeah, and in fairness, Detroit at least was a step. It was a step where he didn't quite look as that he was floundering as much. The Leafs' inability to play well on home ice is absolutely mind-boggling. Mm-hmm. But the other thing is, and I don't think you should disregard this. This is only the second game that's gone past regulation that Ilya Samsonov has won. He has 6 overtime losses on the year. His other win was the opening night game against Montreal when the Leafs were down 5-3 in the third period. Austin Matthews scored twice. They ended up winning it in overtime. So I think there were so many positives. Shutout aside, you win in overtime, you hold your team in it, and where a crowd was giving you Bronx cheers, remember early in the game against Detroit, he stopped a long shot of the Bronx cheers. Well, those have been turned into genuine, heartfelt cheers by the end of this game.
Well, yeah, we saw a standing ovation when he stops the 2-on-0, and that was a great moment, and kind of moment that you almost feel like it could be a springboard moment for a guy that has kind of dealt with the dregs of goaltending misery, whatever he was up to during that time away from the team that he didn't choose, that the team imposed on him after he was waived and after they decided they didn't want to send him to the minors. Whatever happened during that time, who knows? But we do know that we're seeing a different guy here. We're seeing a guy, it's like Sheldon Keefe said this morning at the morning skate, we want to see the Sammy that we came to know last season. That was the guy.
Yeah.
Tonight.
And in fairness, at times, defensively, the Leafs weren't great in front of him. And that causes, when you've got confidence problems and guys aren't good in front of you, they're turning the puck over, then everything, everything goes. The one thing, whether there's truth to it or not, that I would love to actually be the springboard. He said his father's been here.
Yeah.
And he's had conversations with his father. And I love that. If you're a father, you love hearing that story that, here you've got your kid playing in the National Hockey League. It doesn't matter how much he's making. It doesn't matter how famous he is. He's struggling, and maybe a little bit of fatherly wisdom saying, look, this is life. This is an obstacle. You got to fight through it. In what I read, he brought up, you're a father now. You owe it to your family to fight. And you looked at that and you go, you know what, that's what makes great sports stories. When family's involved and there's obstacles to overcome. So you hope. I mean, it's only 2 games, but they're by far the best 2 games he's had since the regular season last year, or I guess probably since the series against Tampa in the first round last year. These have been his best moments.
Well, and if he wasn't as good as he was tonight, this was just an awful first period by the Leafs. There's no legs.
Maybe worst of the year.
I think so.
I mean, you try to make comparisons to the game, say, in Buffalo, when they lose 9-3, and you're going, in some ways, this felt worse.
Yeah, they couldn't skate.
Because you couldn't blame your goaltender.
No.
For one, in fact, it was the opposite. It was, it seemed like a 10-foot pass was a chore. Just chipping it up the boards. And you're going to have that. And one of the things that I've always admired and loved about the Boston Bruins, they win games like this. Mm-hmm. When you say Boston wasn't very good, and they win 2-1 in overtime or 3-1 with an empty netter. And from a Leaf standpoint, I think it's so important to be able to win games when you don't score 5 or 6 goals. And I think up until the game in Seattle, mm-hmm. I think the Leafs had only won 4 games, so that might have been the 4th game they'd won when scoring less than or 3 goals or less during the season. If I'm not mistaken, they did it back-to-back games. I think against Florida at home, they won 2-1 in overtime. They had another one in there, but it's
they got 4 wins, four wins with 3 goals or less.
Yeah, which is scary, including the last 2 games. So that 5 now, David.
Yeah.
5?
I'm not counting tonight. You're right.
Tonight is 5.
Yeah,
so, I mean, that's when you look at, the great streak the Winnipeg Jets had about not giving up, more than 3 goals for, a 34-game stretch.
Incredible.
You're saying there's the formula. You stay patient. Some night things are going. You've got a team that's, not even middle of the pack when it comes to specialty teams.
Oh,
in power play or penalty kill.
Yeah.
And you're going, well, how are they doing it? They're, they found that formula where it's defense first. And wait for your moment.
5 on 5. I mean, even without some big names tonight, I mean, the way they play is eerily similar to Carolina. You've got to fight your way into their zone. Yeah. They're not going to let you get in there.
And they don't retreat. They don't send one guy in. They send in 2. So you think you've got that easy outlet pass? No. Somebody's going to hover to try to force you to make a mistake. And, because the Leafs, like we said, it was a struggle. They did get better as the game went on, but at no point did you look and say, "Oh, they're sharp now," or "They're coming." Every opportunity seemed to be more desperation than design.
So, Ralphie, coaches always say you don't critique a win. I get a feeling Sheldon Keefe might want to critique some aspects of this game, especially speaking of special teams, the Leaf power play, an 0-for-5 night with the man advantage. That brings them to 1 for their last 20 with the man advantage. What do you make of this?
Yeah, what I like is when, again, there's got to be a plan B sometimes when not everybody's sharp. And I remember when we were doing the game when the Leafs were in Anaheim, and they're down 1-0 late in the game. And I remember Joe and I were talking about in the commercial break going into the power play late. You've got to have somebody that just stands in front of the net. Like not slides off to the side. And what happens? John Tavares stands in front of the net, gets the redirection, and then the rebound off the post to tie it up, and they go on to win it. And I think that's where the Leafs sometimes fail to recognize that, look, this isn't our night. We're not sharp. We're not going to find the seam. We're not going to make that great pass. We've got to get numbers in front. We've got to get pucks through. And I think that's, usually when you see a team on the power play and they're on a roll, they start scoring on shots that are rebounds and redirections and screens. They're not pretty. They're not the Edmonton Oilers of the early 80s. It's just, we've got to find plan B to be successful on this. So, but I mean, it's pretty difficult to tell guys that are as highly skilled as that, just shoot the puck and go get it, as opposed to to take all that creativity away.
But it did seem like Keefe was making a statement there, especially the second power play. He did not like the first power play. The second power play, he didn't put out Marner, Matthews, or Nylander for the entirety of the run of it. Went to that second unit an awful lot more than he usually does.
And then that's that old joke. The only reason I put the second unit out first is because there's no third unit. It was that kind of struggle. Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, not thrilled with either. Obviously, the second unit wasn't any better, really. But I mean, how worrisome is that for you guys? Because you think about this team, going back to the Babcock, our power play is our toughness. If they're not scoring on the power play, some nights they're not scoring. Certainly they didn't do it in the first 60 minutes of tonight. Really worrisome, and what needs to change, I guess.
Yeah, well, and the bottom line is you look at a lot of games in that streak where they won 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 6. All the leads that were blown, you're going, boy, they had a power play here. They were up 2-0 in the third, and they had this power play, or they were up. They could have expanded it, even though you blow a 3-0 lead against Colorado. You had power plays, and you cash in on one, and there's a good chance you put the game away. So it's not just so much that it's it was tonight. You look at all those losses when you're saying, okay, you blew leads, but you had the chance. Your skilled guys could have put it away. At this moment, and at least give them credit. I still consider overtime specialty teams, and tonight they found a way to capitalize on it.
So we learned that 4-on-4 overtime is not nearly as exciting as 3-on-3.
No, but remember when they first did it, which was early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. The one memory I have was before the shootout came in. Steve Thomas scored in Vancouver with about a second left on Felix Potvin, and you're going, why didn't somebody tackle him? Like it was the end of the game. Yeah. Nobody tackled him. He sort of fought through and scored. I think you're saying, okay, but that was exciting because then you had the 5 minutes to play for the extra point, right? That was the big deal. You didn't get the shootout, so you were going all in.
Well, beats a
to
tie
end it in overtime. Yeah. So this overtime again. You just kept thinking, how cruel can the hockey gods be to Ilya Samsonov? That he's 1-6 in overtime, has struggled in extra time, and you're going, okay, you were okay last game. You've been good this game. Now this overtime thing you've been struggling with, we're going to throw that at you as well. So it was like, how much adversity can you face in back-to-back games? And he came. He was brilliant. And I mean, even better than stretches that I think we saw him last year. I think these 2 games are the best back-to-back nights he's had in the Leaf uniform.
I would agree with that. The other thing is the overtime goal. Robertson had a key part in it, but I think he was off the ice by the time it went in.
Yeah, he still got the assist, though, didn't he?
Riley got one.
Since
it's back in our
Riley threw it out
he
to
did
Matthews.
Get an assist. Yeah, but he had some interesting chemistry with Matthews seconds before that, and he somehow kept the puck alive. And then as he was skating off, the puck went across. The Riley pass went across to Matthews, who was just right there.
Yeah, and you know what? It is funny. He's, you always knew, whether you're a player or whatever, coaches love certain players, and other guys have a lot harder time earning the coach's trust or admiration. And Nick Robertson's just one of those guys. Because you look at before he got into the game against Seattle, he had 3 goals in his last 5 games, but had sat his last 5, but had sat, I think, 6 of the last 9 that the Leafs played. Then he gets back in the lineup and scores in Seattle. so he does it again. And we're talking about Tavares hasn't scored. We're talking about Gregor and Kampf and everything. But Nick Robertson goes in and scores, and now he does that. So you're kind of hoping for him that give me another shot. Like let me go on a bit of a run and see how the game is. I realize for a young player, it's not just about putting points. It's being responsible defensively. It's getting pucks out. It's doing the little things and paying attention to detail. But when you're struggling in certain areas of your game, you're going, not a bad guy to throw in. He's at least, in 9-10 minutes of ice time a night, he's scoring on a fairly regular pace.
No, he could score, and obviously the reason that he has not been in the lineup at times is that 200-foot piece, right? But I think with Robertson, at a moment like this with John Tavares in the longest pointless streak of his career, now 9 straight games without a point, never happened to Johnny T before. 10 straight games without a goal, one of the longest goalless streaks of John Tavares' career. Like the Fab Four of this team had really carried the load in terms of producing far more than they probably should be producing. Right, this is a moment where the Leafs need some secondary scoring. Tonight they would have taken any kind of scoring, primary or secondary, but they need some secondary scoring. And if you're Sheldon Keefe, it sort of becomes like, how do you keep a kid out of the lineup that can score when you need goals?
Yeah, even if it is parts of his game need improving, but man, we could really use his stick right here.
Exactly.
And good to see him get a point in overtime. And let's not forget, he scored an overtime goal against Dallas last year, too, on a setup from Matthews. They almost recreated that moment.
That's right.
Played over 17 minutes tonight.
Yeah, that's a good outing.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. Probably career high.
I would think so.
Four shots on goal. No, he had – I mean, you talk about not many bright spots outside of Ilya Samsonov. I'd say Nick Robertson was one of them.
Yep. Ralphie, thanks for hanging around.
I got nothing else to do.
Well, what are you going to do now?
I'll just sit around and listen to you guys.
Thanks, Ralphie.
Thanks, boys.
1-0 for the Leafs over the Jets in overtime. This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
There are many peculiar words in the English language. Words like salivigant, peregrinate, nemophilus, peripatetic, and conviviality. Yet, there is no word for getting the most out of winter in your Subaru, thanks to symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and X-Mode. Until now. We call it unhibernate. As in, while your neighbors stay home, you'll be unhibernating all winter in your Subaru. So peregrinate to your local Subaru dealer today and
Hey everybody, Mike from TSI. Join our awesome community today. You see all those awesome emojis in the chat? See everybody's names rolling down the bottom of the screen here? Get your name in that list. It's only 99 cents a month. 99 cents, you can't even get a coffee for 99 cents anymore, guys. Join today. Click the description of the video. You'll see the link to join in the description. Let's get back to the action. Go Leafs, go. Let's finish strong, boys.
Love meatballs? You could have spaghetti and meatballs, but why have a dish where they're mentioned second, like an afterthought? With 2-for-1 Pizza's new meatball menu, meatballs are the star of the show with dishes like meatball pizza, with meatballs, green peppers, and red onions starting at just $11.99, or their classic meatball sandwich on 6-inch toasted garlic bread smothered in classic tomato sauce and mozzarella from just $9.99. Order online at 2for1pizza.com.
2-for-1 pizza, 2-for-1.
Leafs Game Night, 1-0. The Leafs win over the Winnipeg Jets in overtime. Samsonov was the scene stealer for sure. Solid performance. I mean, this was fantastic and well appreciated in the building. Here's Austin Matthews on Sammy's performance tonight.
I mean, unbelievable. I thought he was best player on the ice for us by far. So, I can't say enough good things about him, and just the way he played tonight was incredible. So,
have you seen remember a 2-1-0 like that, Austin, where the two saves are made, bang bang?
I mean, no, because honestly, that play shouldn't happen, and that's on us as a PP, and we just got to be better in those situations, and that's on us. So we got to be better. We will be better. But obviously, pretty incredible 2 saves there to keep it a 0-0 game.
What does it say about Sammy, the work that he went through over the last month or so, from where he was to build himself back up, and now to turn in 3 good games, and tonight's game was as good as we've all seen.
Yeah, I mean, I've always just loved his attitude and just the way he goes about his business, and obviously it wasn't going very well for him there for a little bit, but that's when you just worked harder and harder and really just dialed it in and did the extra work, and mentally he's as solid as any goalie I've been around, and for him to rebound like he has been and playing, it's unbelievable for our team, but unbelievable for his confidence, and it just speaks to his preparation and his mindset.
When it comes to the power play, have you guys faced a team as tight checking as the Jets this season?
they're all over you guys right now?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few. I thought Vancouver played really tight. There's been a few teams, LA, but obviously they've been rolling really well as of late, and they don't allow much going back their way. So we're just trying to stay patient and continue to push and try to get momentum on our side through shifts and periods of time in their O zone or their D zone, and just go from there. I mean, it wasn't a pretty game by any means, but just one of those that you just kind of had to grind out.
What happened on the 2-0? Austin, was it just you guys staying out too long, or what was the breakdown?
I don't know. Honestly, I got to watch it back. But like I said, just something that just can't happen.
Can you put your finger on anything about the power play that's going wrong these days?
I just think a little bit disconnected. That's really it. I think we just got to get on the same page and maybe simplify some things.
What do you think of the trust that the coaches put in Nick Robertson?
Yeah, he played great tonight for us, and he was rewarded with more ice time, more shifts with different lines, OT, and Robbie comes in every day and he works as hard as anybody, and nothing really phases him. He obviously wants to play. Everybody wants to play, but just the way he comes in every day, goes to work, regardless if he's in the lineup or not, does all the extra stuff, and I think in the games he's played in, he's been a difference maker at times, and obviously tonight he played really well.
So that is Austin Matthews postgame. So what I take out of that is there's two stories here that could have a major impact in a positive fashion on how this team finishes the season. One would be the Samsonov turnaround, and the other might be Nick Robertson. I mean, who knows? I mean, he played 17 minutes tonight because he earned it.
He really did. And let's face it, the Maple Leafs need it. They need production from somebody not named Matthews, Marner, Nylander, and Tavares. And, of course, Tavares right now is not giving them any production. 9 straight games without a point, 10 straight without a goal. So, yeah, this is welcome goal scoring from Nick Robertson. He got one in Seattle. Helped set up the winner in overtime tonight.
He kept the play alive.
Huge. It was a really nice pickpocket. I think Matthews passed to him in the play that kind of followed that. I think almost is like, you got this puck, I want to give it to you, even though Matthews could have had a shot there.
Yeah.
I think he overpassed it to Robertson, probably trying to reward him for a really nice strip of the puck to keep the puck alive for the Leafs in the Winnipeg zone. So, yeah, huge play by Robertson there. He was, we talked about coming off the long western road swing. The tradition is you got heavy legs, and the Leafs certainly looked like it in the first period. But Robertson was the exception. He looked like he had some bounce in his step. Obviously hasn't played as much as everybody else this season because he's been a healthy scratch quite often, more than he would like, obviously. But, hey, that's the advantage you've got as a guy who's fresh, and he certainly used it to great effect tonight.
I'm just looking at his line. 4 shots, another 3 that didn't get through, so 7 shot attempts.
Yeah.
That's a pretty industrious night. And the other thing about both those turnarounds, and I think the hope is that they'll continue along that line, is it's the timing of it, going into the All-Star break, coming out of it. If you don't have to worry about those two things, and I don't want to rush here, but if you don't have to worry about those two things, or they're adds on to what you already have, then you can focus on other areas of the team.
Oh, exactly. I mean, we all know Brad Treliving's got a fairly extensive shopping list, and it would be really great for Brad Treliving to think goaltending's okay. If Ilya Samsonov's back to being the Samsonov of last year and not the Samsonov who was one of the worst goaltenders on the planet in October, November, and December, that changes a lot for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
And not only does it, look, I mean, tonight he looked better than we've ever seen him in a lot of ways. And yeah,
he looked as good as you can look. Yeah. Let's be honest there. I mean, we've seen some great goalies in this building, and he was on the same page.
He was. And look, yeah, we don't want to rush to anoint him an ensuing Vezina candidate or one of the great comeback stories in the history of the game when we're, 3 games into his comeback, one of which was not a particularly good performance against Detroit, and then 2 really great performances against Seattle and Winnipeg here tonight. But these are good steps. These are good steps and necessary steps. And without these steps,
well, it beats the opposite, right?
There are certainly probably pretty good odds that this return would not go well, and that Ilya Samsonov would be declared a lost cause at some point here far from it. I mean, suddenly he is a growing concern here for the Maple Leafs, a guy that they obviously have a lot of love and respect for. You really sense that the team is incredibly happy for him tonight. Certainly the building was thrilled for him.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of people rooting for him. Long way to go still.
Absolutely. But it's heading down a positive road. Mitch Marner on Samsonov's shutout tonight.
Phenomenal, obviously. I mean, that's the reason we won. Made a lot of big saves for us, and, it wasn't a great game by our team. What was the biggest challenge the Jets presented tonight? I think there's a reason why they're top defensive team in the league, and why they're top of the standings. They do a great job just recovering off of forechecks. They're constantly above you. They're hard in their D zone. They play man to man, but don't give you a whole lot through the middle or to attack the net. And for us, we just got to do a better job of trying to find ways to get pucks towards net and guys there.
What was the message in the second period after the 2-0 when you guys got sat down a little bit on power play?
On the bench or in here?
On the bench.
Obviously not good enough. We know that. I mean, we've been here for a long time, and give that up, especially on a power play in a game like that, it's unacceptable.
Is there something you can put your finger on, not just that play, but just what's going wrong with the power play lately?
No, we're just disconnected, like Austin said. We've talked a lot. We're trying to figure things out. This is obviously something we don't want, but it's happened through the last couple of years, and something that we got to really drill into and make sure when we're out there, just because we have a man advantage doesn't mean we can just take our foot off the gas. We got to stick with our mentality of trying to get pucks towards that net, guys there, and second opportunities. What happened on the 2-0 to create it? Like, were you guys just out too long, or what was it? Yeah, probably a little bit of everything. Out too long, just kind of a miscommunication, and we take ownership of that, and it's unacceptable, like I just said, and thank God for 35 in there.
What stood out to you and how he's navigated this last month?
A lot. I've been in those moments as well, and it's not fun. Everyone's against you, really, and everyone, is coming at you on all different angles and thinking you're not good enough. And for him to fight through that and come back as he has and played as well as he has for us and won us the last couple of games, and then has done a great job of it. It just shows how mentally strong he is, and I've tried to talk to him. We know he's a hell of a goaltender. We know he does amazing things for us when he's in that net. And, obviously everyone goes through spells sometimes of where stuff's not going your way, and it affects you, and then you hear all the noise outside of it, and it affects you more. And he's just done a great job this last month blocking it out and, really focusing on himself, training himself, and, being the best he can be in the last month. How did you handle it when you went through something similar? Talking to people. You got to express your emotions. When you hold on to stuff by yourself, it gets in your mind and, puts you in a dark spot. So we're lucky enough to have people around us that care for us and want to hear, how you're feeling. That's why you have loved ones. That's why we have people around this team as well. So you got to talk your way out of it. Just know that you're, a great person, a great player, and you're here for a reason, and you're here to help this team. And, it's just about believing that you can do that. And obviously, we were all trying to be there for him as well and just try to help him out and, play better in front of him as well.
Mitch Marner postgame, 1-0. The Leafs win in overtime over Winnipeg. This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Let's go, football fans. This week on Let's Go with Tom Brady and Larry Fitzgerald and me, Jim Gray.
How do you beat Patrick Mahomes? He's an incredible competitor, and I think it's on display in the biggest moments. So, got so many of the intangibles. So, beyond his ability to throw the ball, he's a fierce competitor. They got a great team. They're really well coached. It's been a great organization.
Listen now to the extended version of Let's Go, exclusively on the SiriusXM app, included with all our trials and popular plans. Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Under review. The National Hockey League, it's the #1 league in the world. It's a tough league. It's not shinny. I never wanted to become a league where the stars get an extra step or two. And there is a real divide with some people who go, the NHL doesn't do enough for its stars. No, what we like about hockey is it's a team game.
Under review with Mick Kerr. 11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Hey Toronto, I'm David Morsuti, host of the daily Toronto Maple Leafs podcast, Locked On Leafs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network on the SiriusXM app. Every weekday, we bring you the latest Leafs news and analysis, break down all the action, including this game you're listening to right now, and preview the next one. We're giving you everything a Leafs fan could want, all in a daily 30-minute podcast. Download Locked On Leafs right now on the SiriusXM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or where you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Leafs.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on SiriusXM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on SiriusXM FC 157 and streaming on the SiriusXM app.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen. Walks in. Put it between his legs. Shoots it. Score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Leafs game night live from Scotiabank Arena. Jim Taddy, Dave Feschuk from the Toronto Star. Here's Coach Keefe on Samsonov's performance tonight.
Now on the Leafs Radio Network, Maple Leafs head coach Sheldon Keefe.
Perfect. You know, it was excellent from start to finish. So you know, he was good early in the game when they were shooting the puck from everywhere on the sides, and he was great there. And then he was obviously great when the few high end chances that they had. He was terrific. So just another building block for him, where he just looks as confident as ever.
What adjustments did you guys make? The Jets had half their shots in the first period. So what did you guys do after the first to kind of try and guys going back?
I mean, if you were to go back and watch their shots on goal in the first period, I would say 80% of them came directly from our stick to their stick, and the shot at our net. So we stopped turning the puck over. That was a big one. And then through the second period, it just felt like I don't think we gave up a shot in the last 11 minutes of the second period. Like, it just felt like our game was starting to come a little bit, and we were starting to carry the play a little bit more. Now they make it really difficult to get to their net, so we didn't get a whole lot accomplished, really anything accomplished offensively, and the scoreboard reflected that. I thought that we started to break out better. And the one thing that I thought, with the exception of a couple of things, one thing is, we didn't have it tonight. Like, clearly, it was not a good night for us, start to finish, pretty much. But I thought we defended well. They got in behind us a couple times. Obviously, and Sammy had to make a couple really big saves, but this is as low a vintage NHL game as you're going to find. And
you say you don't have it, but I mean, the Jets have done that to everybody this season. Is that something they're doing? Is it you guys?
Well, part of it. I mean, credit to them. Like, in the first period, they forechecked well. They had good sticks. They were on top of us. But we couldn't execute a pass. We didn't have a lot of life. Didn't have a lot of energy. Didn't have a lot of legs. Now that we've won the game and everything, to me, it looked like a team that was still on the plane and still on the West Coast. Like, that's what it looked and felt like. You talk about it, right? I think that's a little overblown, that whole thing. But sometimes it does catch up to you. And that's what it looked like here tonight. So we get out of here with 2 points. Liked how we did stay with it. And, we had to kill some penalties there at the end and find a way to get the second point. Get out of here. We'll get 3 sleeps before we play again. And I expect us to be a lot better, as I'm sure they will be when they get in their building.
Coach Keefe, after the 1-0 win, giveaways, the Leafs had 17 by period, 8, 4, and 5, and Winnipeg had 5.
Yeah, they just take care of the puck, right? They're
relentless.
They're relentless on the puck, and when they get it, they don't throw it back to you. And that's the point Keefe was making there, that especially early in the game, it was just a constant procession of Maple Leaf passes going on to Winnipeg sticks and then coming back at Ilya Samsonov. It was Liljegren giving away pucks unprompted. It was Morgan Rielly having his pocket picked repeatedly. It wasn't pretty. And as Sheldon Keefe said very rightly, we didn't have it tonight. The Maple Leafs did not have it tonight.
No, they did not. Just about a minute left. The power play can be frustrating. To hear them say we're disconnected. Based on the talent that's out there, that's got to be. It's frustrating to watch. It's got to be frustrating to be part of it too.
Got to be frustrating to try and coach it. If you're Guy Boucher and everybody else in the coaching staff, I'm sure they're chipping in, trying to figure out how to get this ship righted. But one for your last 20 with this kind of talent on the power play, with the way the Leafs pride themselves as an offensive juggernaut, just not acceptable. And something's got to change, because if they just keep doing the same thing, it just doesn't seem like it's going to work.
Well, and so it's on to Winnipeg on Saturday, and I would expect a different game, like a much more evenly played game.
Well, to Ralphie's point, the Leafs have been much better on the road.
Yeah.
That tonight, after tonight's win, they're playing at home on 89-point pace. They're playing on the road at 109-point pace. So they're a different team on the road. So I would expect a much different type of effort. As Keith says, 3 sleeps and the Leafs could use them.
Dave, thanks very much. Really appreciate it.
Great seeing you.
This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
You've been listening to NHL Play-by-Play on SiriusXM. Head over to SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, for the best hockey talk.
Teams from quote-unquote louder markets had reached out to him. I think some teams from quieter markets had reached out to him. I think some of his former teams had interest, but I'm not sure if it was late Saturday night or early Sunday morning when ultimately the decision was made. It might have been Sunday morning, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I also have no doubt that, just like they did with some other players they've recruited, Edmonton's Twin Towers and nuclear weapons may have been a part of this recruitment as well. But the Oilers, and I'm expecting that they're going to put a player on waivers on Monday. I'm going to be very curious to see if Holloway, who was just called back up from Bakersfield after an injury, is the guy is the guy who plays with Perry, at least to start, whenever Perry returns to the NHL. But like I said, I was moderately surprised it was the Oilers, because there was definitely some conversation about, was a Canadian market the right place? But ultimately, it is.
Edmonton has been interested in Corey Perry for a while. They didn't get a shot last year because, Chicago made the move and signed him, pretty much right away. So Edmonton really didn't get a chance at him in the offseason. But this is someone that the others have had on their radar for a little while.
I agree with that. Look, he can still help teams win. There's no question about it. And again, without knowing 100% of the details, I don't want to weigh in on exactly what occurred in Chicago, with the caveats that he was never put on any list where he had reinstatement, although teams did want to know that the league would not stand in their way or raise an eyebrow or have any issue with them signing Perry, and we found out last week the league would not have a problem with that. And the other thing that still is a matter here is that I think they still have a week, the NHLPA does, to appeal this contract termination from Chicago, which they are expected to do.
On the court and off, your home for the NBA is SiriusXM. Follow all the drama as your favorite team vies for it all. SiriusXM NBA Radio. SiriusXM 86.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Wednesday, January the 24th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Toronto Maple Leafs take on the Winnipeg Jets. Leafs on SiriusXM channels 91, Internet 947, Jets on Internet 951. 7 p.m., Florida Panthers take on the Arizona Coyotes. Panthers on Sirius 208, XM 219, and Internet 932, Coyotes on Internet 921. 7:30 p.m., Boston Bruins take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Bruins on Sirius 209, XM 220, and Internet 922. Hurricanes on Internet 925. 9:30 p.m., Colorado Avalanche take on the Washington Capitals. Avalanche on XM 221, Internet 927. Capitals on Internet 950. 10 p.m. Vancouver Canucks face the St. Louis Blues. Canucks on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 948. Blues on Internet 945. 10 p.m. Seattle Kraken face the Chicago Blackhawks. Kraken on Sirius 208, XM 219 and Internet 944. Blackhawks on Internet 926. 10:30 p.m. LA Kings face the Buffalo Sabres. Kings on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 933. Sabres on Internet 923. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Wednesday, January the 24th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Toronto Maple Leafs take on the Winnipeg Jets. Leafs on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 947. Jets on Internet 951. 7 p.m., Florida Panthers take on the Arizona Coyotes. Panthers on Sirius 208, XM 219 and Internet 932. Coyotes on Internet 921. 7:30 p.m., Boston Bruins take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Bruins on Sirius 209, XM 220 and Internet 922. Hurricanes on Internet 925. 9:30 p.m., Colorado Avalanche take on the Washington Capitals. Avalanche on XM 221, Internet 927. Capitals on Internet 950. 10 p.m., Vancouver Canucks face the St. Louis Blues. Canucks on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 948. Blues on Internet 945.
Sirius XM NFL Radio Channel 88 brings you expert analysis from former players, coaches, and executives, plus reaction to all the latest news on the only 24/7 station dedicated to the National Football League.
Patrick Waugh has been hired as the new head coach of the New York Islanders, his second go-round as an NHL head coach after holding that spot with the Colorado Avalanche in the 2010s. Regular NHL Network radio contributor Jeff Merrick talks to former NHL head coach Bruce Boudreau, who's guest co-hosting on The Morning Skate on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM Channel 91, about being an NHL bench boss for the second time.
Did you find that of all your coaching stops along the way, that you were maybe the best version of yourself in your second job, like with Anaheim, because you had the confidence already of having coached with the Washington Capitals, and you really sort of you learn the lessons from the first time you coach in the NHL, and then you start to hit your stride when you're on your second job? Did you find that? Because it seems very much, if you look at Lou Lamoriello's MO, he likes to hire the people that are going on their second gigs.
It's interesting. I think I was much more secure in my feeling of what I was doing on my second time around, and my third and my fourth and my fifth, by the way. All of those times. If I ever get my sixth time, I'll go in there and I'll be snapping my fingers. I'll be going, I'll know what's going on left, right, and center. I'll know when I'm fired. I'll know when I'm hired. It'll be great if there's another chance. But you know what? The big difference was when I went to Washington, I had coached 7 of the players. And that made a huge difference. It was a welcoming thing. When I went to Anaheim, I remember being on the plane, and I'm looking over all the stats. I got all the stats and who's on the team and everything. I hadn't coached any of them. I didn't know any of them. I knew one guy, George Peros. And George, I had him in Manchester for 3 years. So he was a guy that instantly, when I got there, I leaned on him to tell me, what's this like? What are these guys like? Because, obviously he's a very smart guy. Look what he's done since then. But, he was a guy that I leaned on. That's what I looked at on every team that I went. Do I know somebody that I can all of a sudden lean on? Or if he knew me, then he could pass around the good vibes that I'm going to be bringing and the good things that I'm going to be doing to the rest of the team, because you never know. Like, I remember when the Leafs hired Roger Nielsen back in the day, Daryl Sittler came up to me and sat me down and said, okay, what's this guy like? What's he? I want to know all about him before before they had him. So players talk all the time on what are we getting here? What's going on? So it was really interesting that when you go to another team, that you look for somebody that you can at least get information from and that would know you, so you can go in there a lot more at ease than on your first job. And excuse me. And I think Patrick would have been the same way. I don't know that Lou automatically goes for that second guy, but he might not just say, I don't want a rookie. I want a guy, when I'm doing something, I want somebody that comes in here and knows what he's doing before and not have to take baby steps.
Follow every second of the action on NHL Network Radio. From behind the bench to every play on the ice. If it's hockey, it's on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Wednesday, January the 24th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Toronto Maple Leafs take on the Winnipeg Jets. Leafs on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 947. Jets on Internet 951. 7 p.m., Florida Panthers take on the Arizona Coyotes. Panthers on Sirius 208, XM 219, and Internet 932. Coyotes on Internet 921. 7:30 p.m., Boston Bruins take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Bruins on Sirius 209, XM 220, and Internet 922. Hurricanes on Internet 925. 9:30 p.m., Colorado Avalanche take on the Washington Capitals. Avalanche on XM 221, Internet 927. Capitals on Internet 950. 10 p.m., Vancouver Canucks face the St. Louis Blues. Canucks on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 948. Blues on Internet 945. 10 p.m., Seattle Kraken face the Chicago Blackhawks. Kraken on Sirius 208, XM 219, and Internet 944. Blackhawks on Internet 926. 10:30 p.m., LA Kings face the Buffalo Sabres. Kings on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 933. Sabres on Internet 923. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Wednesday, January the 24th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Toronto Maple Leafs take on the Winnipeg Jets. Leafs on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 947. Jets on Internet 951. 7 p.m., Florida Panthers take on the Arizona Coyotes. Panthers on Sirius 208, XM 219, and Internet 932. Coyotes on Internet 921. 7:30 p.m., Boston Bruins take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Bruins on Sirius 209, XM 220, and Internet 922. Hurricanes on Internet 925. 9:30 p.m., Colorado Avalanche take on the Washington Capitals. Avalanche on XM 221, Internet 927. Capitals on Internet 950. 10 p.m., Vancouver Canucks face the St. Louis Blues. Canucks on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 948. Blues on Internet 945.
Hear it all on demand. Your favorite shows, your favorite games. Don't miss a second of your favorite SiriusXM programming on demand with the SiriusXM app. Download it now for free.
As we get near the All-Star break, the Philadelphia Flyers remain one of the feel-good stories of the season. The Orange and Black have been in the top echelon of the Eastern Conference pretty much since the season began, and Steve Coates, the color commentator on the team's radio broadcasts, joins Dave McCarthy on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 91, where he says he did feel that the club was going to be better than a lot of people thought.
Coming into the year, who would have expected this from the Flyers, given the way the last handful of years had gone, and you saw it up close, game in, game out. Where were you at coming into the year, and how far have the Flyers exceeded your expectations?
Well, they've definitely exceeded the expectations, but I definitely thought that this was going to be a team that was going to be a lot better than what people thought. And this is a classic example. It's a business policy course, basically, on you bring in new people and it doesn't work, and it basically destroyed the brand as it was. The Philadelphia Flyers were a very respected organization. It was a destination for free agents.